Every Genesis realm expert in the 6 great gold rank forces combined wouldn't be enough to break through the sky-bearing city. Qin Lai was stunned by the cursed progenitor's claim. He wasn't able to say a word until a very long time later. It was a pretty unbelievable statement. That's a bit of an exaggeration, isn't it? Miao Yixi's brows were furrowed in astonishment as well. She clearly didn't believe his words either. She was aware of the 6 great forces' true strength. Reincarnation Sect, Ninth Heaven, Starry Hall, Six Ways Alliance, the Ao family and the Lu family had been established and prosperous in Spirit Realm for nearly 20,000 years. They were the rulers of Spirit Realm ever since the God race had left this world behind. That hadn't changed even to this day. She knew full well that every force had at least one 9-level soul altar ancestor and 1 to 3 early to middle stage Genesis Realm experts. In total, there were probably 20 or so Genesis Realm experts within the 6 great forces. It was a power that easily surpassed any foreign race's number of rank 10 bloodline experts. For example, the 4 Beast Kings were the only ones who had reached rank 10 in the ancient beast race. The Sea race also only had 5 Sea Kings. The Dragon race, the Azura race, and the Giant race possessed around that number of rank 10 bloodline experts as well. If the 6 great forces of the human race were to unite as one, they could easily crush any one of the aforementioned races. In fact, the ancient beast race, the sea race, and the giant dragon race combined might still not be enough to take down the 6 great forces of the human race. But the cursed progenitor claimed that this power, a total of 20 peak experts or so, still wasn't enough to take down this city? Was that even possible? In reality, the Qin family hadn't injected all their manpower and resources into the sky-bearing city to defend themselves from the 6 great forces. The cursed progenitor's voice seemed illusory and distant. He didn't care if Qin Lai or Miao Yixi would believe him or not. The real reason the Qin family had built the sky-bearing city was to prepare themselves for the God race's second invasion. They had hoped to keep the God race away with this one city. If the human race were to fall to the God race one day, then the sky-bearing city will be the human race's final bastion and hope. It will keep the human race's bloodline alive and well. From the start, this city was made with the 5 God race families being the hypothetical enemy. Not only is it impossible for the Genesis realm experts of the 6 great forces to breach this city, I dare say they wouldn't even dare to try, the cursed progenitor declared arrogantly. Wouldn't dare. Qin Lai was stunned. That's right. The cursed progenitor chuckled strangely. They will learn of the sky-bearing city's true strength when they attack it in the near future. You will believe me when that happens. It was at this moment many strange, dazzling lights suddenly appeared on the sky of the sky-bearing city. The dazzling lights gathered themselves into 9 dazzling light balls before they expanded into 9 realm entrances at an extraordinary rate. At a distance, they looked like 9 swelling black holes. The 9 realm entrances had appeared in the sky of the sky-bearing city without warning. The doors of 9, Miao Yixi exclaimed. Qin Lai was surprised by this as well. He knew that the Qin family had conquered 9 realms in total during their peak. All 9 realm entrances were connected to the sky-bearing city, so that a martial practitioner could travel back and forth for business or leisure anytime they wanted to. The secret realm entrances that connected the sky-bearing city and the 9 realms were called the Doors of 9, because there were 9 of them in total. When the Qin family had left the sky-bearing city, the Doors of 9 had disappeared without a trace. The 6 great forces hadn't been able to search or reactivate the Doors of 9 despite searching high and low for them in the sky-bearing city. They eventually believed that the Qin family had taken the Doors of 9 with them during their escape. Today, the Doors of 9 had reappeared in the sky of the sky-bearing city like 9 brilliant moons. At the same time, many mysterious threads of light that looked like crooked earthworms suddenly appeared on the 12 empty plazas of the sky-bearing city. A series of deafening noises later, 12 large-sized teleportation formations suddenly appeared deep beneath the 12 plazas without warning. Back then, the Qin family had 9 realms and 12 great vassal forces. The 12 vassal forces' main base were scattered all across Spirit Realm, some being closer to the central world, and some being further away. The Doors of 9 are excessive in this case. The 12 spatial teleportation formations are enough to connect the 12 great forces to the sky-bearing city, Miao Yitzi explained in a soft voice. Qin Lai suddenly realized something. Gon Feiping, Fan Gon, Hunchback Ba, and the rest of the seniors must have been the leaders of the 12 vassal forces. The 12 vassal forces were second-tier gold rank forces just like Sun Palace and Lunar Temple, but they only obeyed the Qin family. The 12 vassal forces had no Genesis Realm experts, but they had countless Void Realm, Imperishable Realm, and Nirvana Realm experts. 9 realms and 12 vassal forces. This was the solid foundation the Qin family had 300 years earlier. After the sky-bearing city had been reactivated, the doors of 9 and the 12 large-sized spatial teleportation formations had all come back to life in miraculous fashion. Heavens! Is the Qin family about to return? The entire sky-bearing city was shaking like there was an earthquake. I can also feel world spirit energy returning to the city at a rapid rate. Even the geocentric fire has been reignited. The sky-bearing city is coming back to life once more. The martial practitioners and inferior artificers who had chosen to stay behind in the sky-bearing city despite everything suddenly emerged from hiding and rushed to the streets. Those who could fly quickly took to the air while shouting. They quickly discovered that the doors of 9 and the 12 underground spatial teleportation formations had all returned to life just like the sky-bearing city's geocentric fire. The doors of 9 have been reactivated. The 12 great spatial teleportation formations have reappeared once more. The Qin family is coming home. Cheers and laughter could be heard from every corner of the sky-bearing city. The once dead city had finally reawakened like a slumbering giant beast. Suddenly, clear spatial energy came from one of the realm entrances that made up the doors of 9. Naturally, Qin Lai and Miao Yitzi's attention was drawn by it. A thin, wizened figure flashed out of the realm entrance and stood still. His hair was gray and messy, and the color of his complexion looked the same as his hair. It was a gray-white color that signified a lack of spirit. Even his eyes were dim and lightless. The moment the old man had emerged from the realm entrance, he started coughing loudly even as he stared at the sky-bearing city with a complicated expression on his face. Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing soon emerged out of the realm entrance behind the old man and stood right next to him. "He is your second uncle, Qin Yi," Miao Yitzi said. Qin Lai looked up to his second uncle, Qin Yi, from a corner of sky-bearing city. The Qin family's old patriarch had 3 sons in total. His oldest son was called Qin Yun, his second son was called Qin Yi, and his youngest son was called Qin Hao. Qin Yun's interest was the same as the old patriarch's. He had spent his whole life refining spirit artifacts, and he wasn't all that interested in the cultivation of the martial way. His second son, Qin Yi, wasn't fond of the martial way as well. Instead, he focused solely on the art of refining pills and eventually became the most skilled medicine maker in the Qin family. Qin Yun loved to refine spirit artifacts, while Qin Yi loved to refine medicine. They were both outstanding in their own domain of expertise, and their abilities made the Qin family the indisputable king of both artifact forging and medicine making. Qin Yun and Qin Ye's contributions were a large reason why the Qin family was able to accumulate so much wealth that even the gold rank forces were envious of them. Beneath the realm entrance, the gray-haired, dim-eyed Qin Yi couldn't stop coughing. He scooped out a couple of pills and stuffed them absent-mindedly into his mouth. It was only then his pale white face regained a bit of color. After he was done swallowing the pills, he narrowed his eyes at the city below him and muttered, "It's been 300 years." Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing were filled with emotions as well. "Now that we're back, we won't ever leave this place a second time." Suddenly, a thought entered Qin Ye's mind before he asked Chun Lin, "By the way, you're saying that little Lai is inside the city?" The corner of Chun Lin's lips curled. The sky-bearing city can only be reactivated by the cursed progenitor, and the cursed progenitor's body so happens to be in the young master's hands. Naturally, he must be somewhere inside the city. Dan Yuanqing smiled. While speaking, both Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing quietly released their soul consciousness and wrapped it around the sky-bearing city like a net to seek out Qin Lai. "They're looking for you," Miao Yitzi said softly. Qin Lai sucked in a deep breath before revealing his own presence to Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing. giving them a clear idea of where he currently was. Both Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing's eyes lit up before they turned to look at his direction. Let's go. Qin Yi, Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing started descending onto the streets of the sky-bearing city before many astonished gazes. An instant later, they stopped right in front of Qin Lai and Miao Yizi. Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing stayed where they were once they hit the ground, their eyes smiling. Qin Yi immediately walked towards Qin Lai with a teary look. Qin Lai's own shoulders were trembling slightly. Qin Yi looked both haggard and wizened. He stared at Qin Lai deeply before he finally let out a sigh and patted Qin Lai on the shoulders. You've had a hard life, nephew. Qin Ye's eyes were wet. I'd asked your father many times to bring you back to Olden Warm Realm as soon as possible. I didn't want you to suffer outside. But your father hadn't ever wanted you to be shamed by a woman like Han Qian again in your life, and he had insisted on letting you forge your path. Now, I finally understood that your father was right. You really have grown up, boy. Second uncle. Qin Lai bowed respectfully towards Qin Yi. From the vague memory of his other self, he knew that his second uncle had spoiled him since a very young age. He had always forgiven Qin Lai no matter the crimes he had committed. Back then, both Qin Shan and Qin Hao were absolutely furious after learning that Qin Lai had tried to do evil to Miao Yizi. They had both wanted to punish him harshly. Again, it was his second uncle who had tried everything in his power to dissuade them. He was the one who kept Qin Lai from being subjected to too harsh of a punishment. 300 years earlier, after the news that he was murdered by Han Qian had spread across the world, Qin Yi, an old man who had spent his entire life making medicine and was utterly unremarkable in the martial way, had attacked Ninth Heaven like a madman. Maybe it was because he had never had a child of his own. But Qin Yi treated his nephew like he would have treated his own son. As long as you're well, as long as you're well. Qin Ye's tears wouldn't stop flowing. Suddenly, he began coughing loudly again in mid-conversation. While Qin Yi was coughing, Qin Lai could clearly sense his uncle's life force weakening little by little. The old man had no choice but to take out his pills again and swallow them all to regain some spirit. Second uncle, what is your illness? Qin Lai asked softly. It's nothing, replied the old man with a shake of his head. He clearly didn't wish to dwell on the subject. 300 years ago, your second uncle took a punch to the back of his heart while we were escaping towards the outer realm. It was Zhu Han of Reincarnation sect. The blow had tainted your second uncle's soul origin with karmic power and caused his life force to deplete at an irreversible rate. Chun Lin's face was cold when he said this. Reincarnation sect's karmic power of reincarnation is a malevolent power of the utmost degree. Not even the old master was able to do anything about it after it permeated into the soul origin. Enough, Qin Yi said. Chun Lin didn't heed Qin Ye's warning. He continued to speak with an icy look. That one blow caused your second uncle's power to decline instead of improving, even though it had been 300 years since then. It is because he is losing life force at every moment. If your uncle's medicine-making skill wasn't unparalleled in the world, if he hadn't replenished his life force with his pills at all times, your second uncle may not have lived this long. Is there truly no way to undo this effect? Qin Lai asked. Qin Yi smiled bitterly before replying. There is one simplest way. All I need to do is to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Enter the cycle of reincarnation? Qin Lai felt astonishment. As long as I give up on this life, send my soul origin back to the cycle of reincarnation and be reborn as a new man, I'll be able to wash away the karmic power that has been branded into my soul, Qin Yi explained. Then, Qin Lai looked like he wanted to say something. Qin Ye's lips suddenly took a downward curl, and his eyes turned as frigid as ice. His entire temperament had changed so drastically that it was almost as if he was an entirely different person. I will not resign myself to reincarnation until I can watch Zhu Han's soul scatter to the wind with my own two eyes. Your second uncle and us are all waiting for the day Zhu Han's bones are nothing but dust, Dan Yuanqing declared coldly. Your second uncle will surely laugh all his way to the next cycle if you can do this, young master, Chen Lin said. Qin Lai sucked in a deep breath before swearing determinedly. I swear I will kill Zhu Han. or I will never enter Genesis realm for as long as I live." "What nonsense are you talking about, boy?" Xianxia said urgently. "Our Lai boy isn't spouting nonsense, you know." Dan Yuanqing snorted softly before continuing. "You haven't seen him for 300 years, and you know nothing of his current power, do you? So how do you know it's impossible for him to achieve?" "Zhu Han is a late-stage Void Realm expert," Xianxia yelled. Unfortunately for Qin Lai, Xianxia's memories of him hadn't moved away from his dastardly image from 300 years ago. Although he wasn't completely unaware of Qin Lai's shocking growth, he simply couldn't imagine Qin Lai being the match of an old fox like Zhu Han. At late-stage Void Realm and 6th-level Soul Altar, Zhu Han was nominally the Pope of Reincarnation sect. Just how on Spirit Realm Qin Lai was going to fight an expert like Zhu Han before he entered the Genesis Realm, and turn his bones into dust? He just couldn't believe it. Times have changed. Dan Yuanqing chuckled before shooting Qin Lai a sideway glance. "If you, Qin Yun, the old master and brother, how are the pillars of the past, then this boy is the pillar of the future." Qin Lai was caught off guard by his declaration. It was at this moment a secret realm entrance suddenly appeared outside the sky-bearing city. One by one, many figures walked out of the secret realm entrance. One of them was none other than Pei Tianchong of Ninth Heaven himself. "Zhu Han is also here," Chen Lin snorted coldly. Outside the sky-bearing city, a couple of figures walked out of an open secret realm entrance and into the dark sky. Pei Tianchong of Ninth Heaven, Zhu Han of Reincarnation sect, and several of their subordinates had traversed through space itself and arrived from Ninth Heaven. To think that the sky-bearing city would suddenly regain vitality after 300 years had passed. It must have been to build some support for the Qin family. Pei Tianchong narrowed his eyes at the giant city that was still undergoing a transformation even then. "I wonder which member of the Qin family is currently guarding that city. Our meeting will only happen 3 days later at Ninth Heaven." The fact that the sky-bearing city is activated now shows that they're clearly looking down on us. Zhu Han chuckled before continuing. "Has the Qin family forgotten that the central world is at our beck and call right now? Come, let us enter the city and see exactly what's going on," Pei Tianchong said. "Good idea," Zhu Han replied. The duo and their subordinates started flying calmly towards the sky-bearing city. They hadn't even released their soul altars yet. Light screens suddenly appeared between the dark clouds and the sky-bearing city. They looked like colorful domes that were wrapping themselves around the sky-bearing city. It wasn't long before the city became completely airtight. The colorful domes looked like clouds in the sky. The difference was that their countless mysterious and complicated spirit diagrams intersecting one another inside them. There also glowed so brightly that every corner of the sky-bearing city was alit with light. From this point onwards, all resident martial practitioners and artificers in the sky-bearing city are allowed to exit the city, but no one is allowed to enter without the Qin family's permission. Chun Lin's cold voice was made tens of thousands of times louder and spread to every corner of the sky-bearing city. Even those martial practitioners who lived in the most secluded corners in the city had heard his warning. Discussions quickly broke out between the people. Chun Lin, his voice made Zhu Han frown mid-flight. His expression slowly turned darker and darker. "Chun Lin, an early-stage Genesis realm expert dares to show up before us? I'm taking this as an act of provocation from the Qin family." Pei Tianchong snorted before transmitting his soul message. "Since the Qin family can't wait to get started, we should show them equal courtesy and take out this sky-bearing city first." Zhu Han grinned. He summoned a Genesis realm expert of his sect to his side. This man had come through the secret realm entrance with Pei Tianchong and him. However, he stayed at the back of the group all this time. 2 elderly men walked out of the slowing secret realm entrance in response to Pei Tianchong's and his call. One man was tall, wide, and wearing gold clothes. He had a big head, large ears, and a mole at the center of his forehead. "Elder Kong." Pei Tianchong gave him a bow. Kong Kuan waved his hands before asking, "Has Chun Lin entered the sky-bearing city already?" "He is inside," Pei Tianchong replied. "Senior Wu." Zhu Han looked at the person he had invited over respectfully while speaking gently. I'll be troubling you again. The man he invited wasn't just as thin as a monkey, he was born with its features as well. He had a pointed mouth, an oval face, and a set of crooked teeth that revealed itself when he smiled. He looked like a vulgar man. Oh, it's no trouble at all. The thin old man who was called Wu Nanchao let out a dry laugh before narrowing his eyes. Without the reincarnation sect's aid, I wouldn't have been able to build the 7th level of my soul altar. I've spent your resources, and I'm the reincarnation sect's worshipper. Obviously, in your time of need, I should lend you a hand. Zhu Han smiled in reply. Reincarnation sect will not treat you poorly. That, I believe. Wu Nanchao looked at the sky-bearing city just a short distance away from him and probed for a bit. Suddenly, he said, Chen Lin isn't the only one. Dan Yuanqing is inside the city as well, Kong Kuan interrupted. While they were speaking, a couple of people appeared one by one on the city walls in a flash. They were Qin Lai, Miao Yitzi, Qin Yi, Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing. They were all standing proudly on the walls and staring coldly at the enemy group. Pei Tianchong's eyes suddenly turned harsh. Qin Lai. On the city wall, Qin Lai gave him a cool smile before bowing slightly. Well met, Uncle Pei. Suddenly, Qin Lai slapped his head as if he had just recalled something. Oh, my apologies. I forgot that we just met each other not long ago. Sai, it's my fault. I should have been more attentive. I should have taken care to let you meet your brother one last time. Do forgive me. While saying this, Qin Lai let out a breath of air from his chest. The breath of air slowly took the form of Pei Tianming moments before his death. Then, the scene where Pei Tianming's soul was slowly refined to nothingness was replayed in meticulous detail. Pei Tianming's eyes turned bloodshot as he watched his younger brother die a horrific death. He looked like all he wanted was to kill Qin Lai immediately. Qin Lai's smile was bright as he said seriously, Your younger brother's soul was devoured using the Soul Beast's bloodline ability, Soul Devouring, and you should have heard that all martial practitioners who were devoured by the Dark Soul Beast, Blood Soul Beast and Soul Devouring Beast were completely dead. They cannot even regather their scattered souls and be reborn in this world. Still enjoying Pei Tianchong's murderous gaze, Qin Lai pointed a finger at Zhu Han of the Reincarnation sect and smiled. Uncle Zhu, you'll be meeting his brother's fate very soon. The Soul Beast will be refining your soul until the moment you die. However, I will be patient this time. I will make sure that you get to enjoy the exquisite feeling of having your soul origin melt little by little. Oh? Is that so? Unperturbed, Zhu Han gave Qin Lai a smile that didn't reach the eye. I sure feel like tasting that feeling right now. Why don't you come out and give it a try? Qin Lai bowed and replied, You are the guest. You should come in and enjoy our hospitality. Zhu Han chuckled before turning to look at Wu Nanchao. What are our chances of escaping this city safely after the city's great formation is destroyed? Wu Nanchao frowned deeply before shaking his head. I have absolutely no idea. Zhu Han looked shocked by his assessment. Do not fall for that brat's provocation, Kong Kuan said seriously. Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing are inside that city. If they use the Great Formation to cut us off while we were entering the city, if some of us were to fall behind the group for even a moment, those who had won in would be attacked from all sides. A perfect retreat is highly unlikely in that case. Amen. That boy is trying to provoke you and lure you inside. Wu Nanchao agreed. However, if they dare come out of the city, we can summon over a couple of old friends from Ninth Heaven anytime we wish. Even if Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing were to meet us head-on, we can hold them off long enough for our friends to show up. It won't be easy for them to escape back into the city after that, Kong Kuan said in a quiet voice. Zhu Han immediately understood his tactic. A smile sprung to his face as he said, Qin too. I thought you caught some karmic power of reincarnation after taking a hit from me 300 years ago? Why are you still clinging to life after that? 300 years is enough time for walk through the cycle of reincarnation. Isn't it? The only thing you'll lose is your current cultivation. So why are you still clinging onto life like a coward? I'm waiting for you to make the trip first, of course. Qin Yi replied icily. Ha ha ha. Zhu Han laughed loudly while shaking his head. Qin Yi, Oh Qin Yi, you won't be seeing that day during your cycle. I'm about to build the 7th level of my soul altar very soon. And when I succeed, my lifespan will increase by another tens of thousands of years. But you? Even if you weren't branded by the karmic power of reincarnation, you still would have died alongside the Qin family. This is a fate no one can change. So just give in and go die already. You'll never see the day I die. Zhu Han's arrogance was in full display by the time he finished his monologue and shouted in high spirits. He clearly didn't care about Qin Yi. Qin Yi said darkly from behind the colorful light screens, "You will die before you finished constructing the 7th level of your soul altar." "Oh? Is that so? Is this your attempt to talk me to death?" Qin Yi, you shouldn't have focused your attention on a small way like medicine making. You were a talented person. Had you suppressed your desires and focused on tempering the martial way, I wouldn't have been able to injure you that easily. Shaking his head, Zhu Han continued, "It's only been 300 years. Even if he somehow got lucky and managed to reforge his soul altar, there is no way he can return to peak form. What can you do without Qin Hao's power? What does it matter if you have more artificers and medicine makers than us? I just can't imagine what the Qin family possibly has left to fight us." "You will know the answer 3 days later," Qin Yi replied coldly. "I will wait and see." Zhu Han nodded. By now, the martial practitioners and artificers living in the sky-bearing city had heard of the 6 great forces' arrival and gathered around this side of the city walls. Qin Yi and Zhu Han's conversation had both surprised and convinced them of the logic behind Zhu Han's words. They all thought that Qin Hao would have been hard-pressed to regain his peak strength even if he somehow managed to reforge his destroyed soul altar in 300 years. Qin Hao was the strongest expert within the Qin family. If Qin Hao couldn't regain his peak form, then just how likely was it that the Qin family was going to win this war? The people who heard the conversation couldn't help but look at Qin Yi with pity in their eyes. Privately, they all thought that the Qin family was going to repeat their mistakes. These people had lived in the sky-bearing city even though it lacked world spirit energy, and were very different from what it used to be. It proved that they bore no ill will towards the Qin family. Some of them had been lent a helping hand by the Qin family in the past. As for artificers, many of them still thought of sky-bearing city as a holy city. Subconsciously, they preferred the Qin family over the 6 great forces, and they didn't want them to be chased out of spirit realm again just like 300 years ago. They truly wished that the Qin family would return to power from the bottom of their hearts. While Qin Yi and Zhu Han were busy trading barbs with each other, Qin Lai fell silent for some reason after his initial success in angering Pei Tianchong. Miao Yitzi was sticking close to Qin Lai, and a blue flash suddenly passed through her eyes. She noticed that a ray of light rich with the stench of blood had suddenly flown out of Qin Lai's body. She lost track of the bloody object before she could get a clear look of it. The only thing she saw was the vanishing star door behind Qin Lai. Miao Yitzi was surprised by this. She knew was that Qin Lai had created a star door and delivered an object through it while Qin Yi and Zhu Han were exchanging insults. However, she had no idea what the object was. Ancient Beast Realm. Crimson Blood Ape King, Fierce Thunder Python King, Nine-Tailed Fox King and Heavenly Blue Snake King were all standing inside a great forest. Tang Yuan, Nivit and Mang Wang were among them as well. Qin Lai's soul beast avatar in his human form were nearby as well. The lizard progenitor was standing right next to him. They were all staring at the bloody carcass at the center in wonder. The giant carcass that was as red as bloody jade was none other than the blood soul beast that had once wreaked havoc in the ancient beast race. On that day, Qin Lai had refined it into his second avatar. Swoosh! A tombstone glowing with dark red light suddenly appeared out of nowhere and floated above the mountain-sized carcass. 7 godly lights flew out of the flesh-filling tombstone and touched the blood soul beast's carcass like tentacles. The blood soul beast was nothing but bones at the beginning. But after the flesh-filling tombstone started injecting a massive amount of refined flesh and blood energy into its body, muscles and blood vessels started growing out of the carcass at a visible rate. The muscles and giant blood vessels looked like bloody snakes writhing across the bones. It was a rather bloody and terrifying scene. thick blood stench started spreading from the reborn blood soul beast. Qin Lai's second soul beast avatar was slowly but surely rising back to its peak form. The blood soul beast avatar devoured the refined flesh and blood energy inside the Blaze family's flesh-filling tombstone greedily. All four beast kings of the ancient beast race looked a little disturbed by this. It's not going to be a problem, is it? Crimson Blood Ape King's brows furrowed. The blood soul beast's main body is originally at rank 10 bloodline. If it was allowed to recover to full, we may not be able to take it down. Heavenly Blue Snake King and Nine-Tailed Fox King looked worried as well. Don't worry. Qin Lai's dark soul beast avatar smiled before consoling. The amount of refined flesh and blood energy contained inside this flesh-filling tombstone is far from enough to restore this rank 10 blood soul beast to full health. Moreover, my third soul also needs an incredible amount of soul energy to return to its original soul level. A moment of surprise later, Crimson Blood Ape King asked, Qin Lai, have you really refined him into your subsoul? Qin Lai nodded. How did you do it? Heavenly Blue Snake King asked in puzzlement. We share the same knowledge of the soul, and you've kept Mayo so weak that he's barely staying alive as it is. It would be a crying shame if I still failed to refine him at that state. Don't you think? Qin Lai smiled coolly before he fell into deep thought. Then, he said suddenly, you are unwavering in your decision to fight alongside the Qin family. Am I right? The four beast kings nodded at once. In that case, are you willing to lend me a hand now? Qin Lai asked with an icy look on his face. There's a person I wish to kill right now. Who is it? Crimson Blood Ape King asked. He's Zhu Han of Reincarnation sect. Qin Lai declared coldly. Oh, no problem. What do you want us to do? Crimson Blood Ape King asked again. Just keep the other two Genesis Realm bastards outside the sky-bearing city in check for me. My soul beast avatar alone is enough to grind that Zhu Han to dust. Qin Lai said. No problem, we will follow your plan. Heavenly Blue Snake King said. By now, Heavenly Blue Snake King was done reconstructing his sons' bodies. He knew that he owed Qin Lai a massive favor, so he was naturally determined to clear out all the obstacles in Qin Lai's way with all he got. Thank you. I'll be opening the star door in a moment, Qin Lai said. Sky-bearing city. Qin Yi was starting to cough loudly again after he traded a series of barbs with Zhu Han. His gray, lifeless face was growing paler and paler. It hurts a lot, doesn't it? Every time you cough, the karmic power of reincarnation is wasting your life force. Do you feel like your internal organs are tensing in pain? Zhu Han laughed loudly and wantonly. You were supposed to be dead, old man, but you just had to defy the heavens and prolong your lifespan, hadn't you? Why force yourself to suffer so much pain every day? If I were you, I would have given up everything and enter the cycle of reincarnation from the beginning instead of suffering like this. Qin Yi stuffed a couple of pills down his throat shakily as he endured Zhu Han's taunts. Let us return. We will deal with him 3 days later when Brother Hao arrives, Chen Lin said with a dark expression. They dare not enter the sky-bearing city, but it is unwise for us to leave and fight them outside. This is a fight that's obviously not going to happen. So what's the point of staying here and wasting time? He only has a few days left. All we need to do is wait, Dan Yuanqing also said in persuasion. Qin Ye's complexion looked unnaturally red. He still couldn't stop himself from coughing, and 2 trails of blood bled down the corners of his mouth. I know. I just cannot find it in myself to accept this. Second uncle, my true body isn't strong enough to kill Zhu Han as it is. But the same can't be said for my soul beast avatar. Qin Lai suddenly broke his long silence and asked, will it affect the family's plans if Zhu Han were to die here? Qin Ye's mind turned blank for a moment. He couldn't seem to react to Qin Lai's question. What are you talking about? It won't affect anything, but... Chen Lin frowned. Zhu Han isn't the only one outside. Qin Lai. Don't be impulsive, Miao Yitzi exclaimed. Qin Yi finally realized what Qin Lai was talking about. He said urgently, you absolutely mustn't act recklessly. Zhu Han isn't an easy opponent. You absolutely shouldn't fight him before you reach the Genesis realm. Qin Lai shook his head and laughed. Zhu Han won't be a worthy opponent once I reach the Genesis realm. Still laughing, he surprised everyone by flying out of the sky-bearing city. While it was true that the 7-layered light screens that enveloped the sky-bearing city could prevent anyone from entering, the opposite wasn't true at the city's current state. Qin Lai instantly passed through the light screen. Qin Lai! Miao Yitzi and Qin Yi exclaimed in unison. Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing exchanged a look of alarm with one another as well. They hurriedly followed Qin Lai and flew out of the city. Don't let Second Master move from that spot, Chen Lin yelled. Miao Yitzi was going to follow them herself, but her senior brother's reminder snapped her out of the heat of the moment. She instantly grabbed onto the panicking Qin Yi and held him tight. Second brother? Qin Lai knows what he's doing. Just relax. Okay? Let go of me, Qin Yi shouted at her. Miao Yitzi refused to let go no matter how Qin Yi struggled. Qin Lai. That boy is Qin Lai. How dare he fly out of the city? What is he doing? Is he trying to commit suicide? He hasn't changed one bit even though it's been 300 years. Just how much more must the Qin family sacrifice themselves for him? He's going to be the death of the Qin family one day. The surrounding spectators broke out in curses when they saw Qin Lai flying out of the city in seemingly suicidal fashion. They were all resentful because they believed that Qin Lai hadn't changed one bit. Ha ha ha! How is it possible that this boy is still as stupid as he was 300 years ago? Zhu Han couldn't stop laughing. Tiwu Nanchao and Kong Kuan didn't need to act to know that the sky-bearing city was going to be difficult to dismantle. The mysterious diagrams on the light screens and the unusual activity of the world spirit energy around them were sufficient for them to draw appropriate conclusions. That was why they hadn't even tried. However, this also meant that they didn't have a good plan to take out Qin Yi and the people hiding inside the city. Moreover, a large majority of their experts were still serving the foreign rank 10 bloodline experts at Ninth Heaven. Since their allies couldn't heed their summons at first notice, Zhu Han and the others were prepared to leave right away. But Qin Lai had suddenly charged out of the city. Zhu Han instantly got excited by the fact. If the Qin family chose to stay holed up inside the sky-bearing city, there wasn't really much they could do. It would take a lot of effort to breach the city, and they would not dare to act recklessly even then. The sky-bearing city was famous since a long time ago. But Qin Lai exiting the city on his own was a completely different story. They could see no reason not to attack Qin Lai and use him to threaten everyone inside the sky-bearing city. Zhu Han thought that Qin Lai had become the breakthrough they needed yet again. How nice of you to come out. Zhu Han laughed in a carefree manner. The spectators who had gathered around the wall from every direction were all pointing fingers at Qin Lai when they saw him flying out of the sky-bearing city in seemingly suicidal fashion. They thought that Qin Lai had framed the Qin family once more. Meanwhile, Qin Yi felt anxious enough to be on fire. If Miao Yitzi hadn't stopped him with all she got, he might have charged out of the city himself. Zhu Han, watch out. This boy is no longer who he used to be. You must not underestimate him. Pei Tianchong shouted in warning. Brother Pei, don't you think you're thinking too highly of his abilities? Zhu Han laughed loudly. Do you really think he's the one who killed Pei too? Do you really think a brainless trash like him is capable of killing your brother? The martial practitioners of Ninth Heaven and Reincarnation were all staring at Qin Lai and chuckling sinisterly to themselves. I will capture him immediately and force Qin Yi to walk out of the city on his own. I want the Qin family to lose 2 of their family members even before Qin Hao has made it to Ninth Heaven. Zhu Han sneered. Suddenly, he made a clawing motion with his hand and summoned a giant black cloud out of nowhere. The cloud instantly fell towards Qin Lai. ZZZT. Rays of silver-white light could be seen peeking out of the black cloud. Blurry images seemed to appear from them. Qin Lai. That's the karmic power of reincarnation, Chen Lin shouted. Both him and Dan Yuanqing had unleashed their soul altars immediately after they flew out of the sky-bearing city. They were trying to protect Qin Lai and escort him safely back into the city. 2 rays of light abruptly appeared in front of them. Wu Nanchao and Kong Kuan appeared and stood in their way like door gods. They immediately attacked Chen Lin and Dan Yuanqing. Kong Kung's soul altar was a 7-level treasure map that looked like it was made of pure gold. The soul altar spun rapidly and rammed towards Dan Yuanqing. The thin Wu Nanchao let out a chuckle before tossing his soul altar out into the open as well. Wu Nanchao also had a 7-level soul altar. It was made out of eerie white bones, and its cold wind howled loudly from inside. It sounded like the soul-sucking noise of 10,000 screeching ghosts. Boom! Wu Nanchao's white bone soul altar suddenly underwent a transformation. It actually transformed into a skeletal demon god with 3 heads, 6 arms and wings beneath its armpits. The skeletal demon god laughed harshly before it stood in Chun-Lin's way and stopped him from progressing. Chun-Lin and Dan Yuanqing were 7-level soul altar experts themselves. Since Kong Kuan and Wu Nanchao had unleashed their full power from the beginning, they had no choice but to defend themselves and pay full attention to them. They couldn't help Qin Lai and escort him safely back into the sky-bearing city. Meanwhile, the black cloud Zhu Han had created suddenly rumbled like thunder. The black cloud started raining all of a sudden. Every single droplet contained the malevolent power of karma. You will die a slow death if even a single drop hits you. Zhu Han smiled. Qin Lai remained calm even though the rain was falling straight at him. Starlight suddenly appeared right above his head. Roar! The star door winked into existence, and an earth-shaking roar suddenly burst out of the portal like a crack of thunder. Qin Lai's soul beast avatar abruptly crawled out of the star door. The infamous beast inhaled and exhaled immediately when its bluish-green pupils caught sight of Zhu Han. When it inhaled, it was as if all the surrounding air was sucked into its stomach. When it exhaled, it was as if a storm had suddenly descended onto the place. A terrible hurricane suddenly appeared beneath the gray sky. The falling rain and the giant cloud were scattered by the powerful wind just like that. The martial practitioners of Ninth Heaven and Reincarnation sect looked ashen-faced when the tainted raindrops flew right back at them. Even Pei Tianchong was afraid of catching a single drop of those deadly things and had to leave Zhu Han's side. In an instant, Zhu Han was left alone. Pa pa pa. The tainted raindrops clearly didn't affect Zhu Han himself because he didn't bother to dodge out of the way. The smile on his face faded little by little. He stared seriously at the soul beast that had appeared out of nowhere and asked, "What kind of benefits did the Qin family promise you?" As the Pope of Reincarnation sect, he was well aware that every surviving soul beast had infinite space for growth. He also knew that the soul beasts were living terrors that once terrorized Spirit Realm 30,000 years ago. If the soul beasts were given enough space to grow, it was only a matter of time before they regained their former strength and infamy. In Zhu Han's eyes, each of these soul beasts was a priceless treasure. If the one before him was willing to serve him instead, Reincarnation sect's strength would increase massively. Moreover, each soul beast hid countless secrets of their own. The 6 great forces were interested to know the outside world through them. The likes of you wish to possess a soul beast? The real Qin Lai grinned. The only place for you is to be its food. It was at this moment a new roar suddenly came through the star door. The ancient beast race. Zhu Han's expression changed. At the distance, Pei Tianchong's complexion had waned slightly as well. A bad feeling seemed to have come over him. Whoosh! Crimson Blood Ape King and Heavenly Blue Snake King flew out of the star door in succession. They were all in their true forms, and they hung in the air like floating mountains. "Please destroy that secret realm entrance first, seniors," Qin Lai yelled. "That is a simple matter." Crimson Blood Ape King sucked in a deep breath before he suddenly fired an explosive roar at the secret realm entrance next to Pei Tianchong. A sound wave that was visible to the naked eye rolled towards Pei Tianchong's side like giant tidal waves. The giant sound wave also contained a tremendous amount of bloodline energy. It was enough power to destroy any martial practitioner who hadn't reached the Genesis realm yet. Unfortunately for the 6 great forces, none of them were currently in the Genesis realm. They had no choice but to run away while shouting in anger. The sound wave easily destroyed Ninth Heaven's secret realm entrance just like that. Crimson Blood Ape King. Heavenly Blue Snake King. How dare you break your promise to us? Pei Tianchong looked absolutely furious. What if we attack the ancient beast realm and annihilate your entire race after we've taken out the Qin family? Hehe, the god race is soon to arrive. If you're strong enough to kick them out of spirit realm a second time, we will wait for you at our homeworld then. Crimson Blood Ape King smiled carelessly. That is assuming you aren't all slaughtered by the god race and make us wait for nothing, of course. Heavenly Blue Snake King sneered. The secret realm entrance Pei Tianchong had created was forcefully destroyed by Crimson Blood Ape King. There was literally nothing Pei Tianchong and the martial practitioners of Ninth Heaven could do to stop a middle-rank 10 Bloodline expert, the equal of a middle-stage Genesis realm expert like Crimson Blood Ape King. Ancient Beast Realm was extremely far away from Spirit Realm. Moreover, the Ancient Beast race had shut down their own realm entrances. Therefore, it would take the 6 great forces at least decades before they could reach Ancient Beast Realm. By then, the god race would have arrived at Spirit Realm already. There was no mistaking the signs. The 6 great forces needed their full strength to repel the god race's invasion. So there was no way they could Ancient Beast Realm until the god race was gone. That was why the Beast King of the Ancient Beast race, Crimson Blood Ape King, didn't fear Pei Tianchong's threat in the slightest. The star door Qin Lai had created with the 8-eyed demon spirit's bloodline continued to shine brightly. Come! A gigantic lizard the size of a mountain range roared and burst out of the star door in response to Qin Lai's summon. The lizard progenitor. Pei Tianchong's expression changed the moment the giant lizard came out of the star door. Suddenly, he realized that his plans for the lizard realm must have failed completely. Master! The lizard progenitor greeted Qin Lai in a humble and respectful tone after he emerged from the star door. He didn't try to hide the fact that he was Qin Lai's sole servant. Ah! All the spectators gathered around the wall, including Qin Yi, was stunned by this outcome. They were all staring at Qin Lai in puzzlement. This giant lizard. Qin Yi stopped struggling and looked at Miao Yitzi in a daze. He wanted to know what was going on. Qin Lai had refined the lizard progenitor into his sole servant at the lizard realm. He now obeys Qin Lai and Qin Lai only, Miao Yitzi explained. Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing are bastards. They didn't tell me anything. Qin Yi swore. Miao Yitzi's eyes were smiling. Maybe it's because they wanted to give you a pleasant surprise. After all, you were the one who held the highest expectations for Qin Lai back then, weren't you? 300 years have passed, and Qin Lai has truly turned over a new leaf and met your expectations. They were all hoping that this revelation would make you happy. Miao Yitzi let go of Qin Yi. Qin Yi slowly calmed down after Qin Lai had used Star Door to summon the Soul Beast, Crimson Blood Ape King, Heavenly Blue Snake King, and finally the Lizard Progenitor to his aid. Considering all the power Qin Lai had brought, it was clear that he had the upper hand firmly in his grasp. That Soul Beast is Qin Lai's avatar. It makes no difference if the Soul Beast were to kill Zhu Han in Qin Lai's stead. Miao Yitzi said indifferently. Qin Ye's eyes suddenly brightened with spirit. Lizard Progenitor, capture Pei Tianchong for me. Remember, I want him alive, Qin Lai said. Understood. The lizard progenitor let out a roar and started swimming his way towards Pei Tianchong like a walking disaster. What about us? Crimson Blood Ape King asked in surprise. Just grab a seat and watch the show. Qin Lai grinned. At the same time, countless Soul Race secret characters appeared in his Soul Beast avatar's bluish-green pupils. They looked like the infinite stars in the sky. Soul Devouring. The Soul Beast opened its mouth as a pitch-black whirlpool appeared inside it, creating a terrific suction force that pulled one's very soul. Zhu Han's expression changed because his 6th-level soul altar was being forcefully pulled out of his glabella. His soul altar was shaped like a spiral with soul threads weaving in and out of the structure. At the center of the spiral-shaped soul altar was Zhu Han's soul. It was the very foundation of his spirit, body, and mind. After Qin Lai's Soul Beast avatar had activated its soul-devouring ability, his soul origin was actually being pulled out of his soul altar bit by bit, as if it was a piece of metal that was being attracted by a giant magnet, threatened to slip out of Zhu Han's grasp and fall into that pitch-black whirlpool. The spinning whirlpool that looked like a black hole frightened Zhu Han at an instinctual level. Zhu Han was Reincarnation's sex pope, So the soul beasts that once wreaked havoc on spirit realm had left a deep impression in him. He knew full well that every soul beast possessed the ability to devour a living being's soul and wipe out their soul mark completely. Even if he was a master in the art of reincarnation, he wouldn't get the chance to enter the cycle and reincarnate back to life if the soul beast managed to refine the very mark of his soul origin completely. Afraid for his life, Zhu Han suddenly shouted, "Reincarnation sect can give you anything the Qin family had offered you. With our aid, you'll be able to return to your peak in no time. The God race is about to arrive, and I know that the soul beasts think of the God race as sworn enemies. Back then, the God race were the ones who killed you all, and the Qin family is currently colluding with the God race. The only fate that's waiting for you is death, if you continue to work with the Qin family." Zhu Han kept shouting and persuading the soul beast to betray the Qin family and take revenge against the God race. Unfortunately for him, he had no idea that that soul beast was Qin Lai himself. Your persuasion is finally on point, but unfortunately for you, you still haven't figured out who you're really dealing with." Qin Lai shook his head before he sent out another mental order. His second soul beast flew out of the star door and let out a throaty roar as well. His second soul beast was still regrowing its body, and due to insufficient refined flesh and blood energy, it hadn't grown out its skin or flesh just yet. That was why it looked bloody and absolutely horrifying. Its bluish-green eyes looked exactly the same as the first soul beast's though. It was a clear indicator that it was another soul beast that had survived to this day. His name is Mao. He hails from ancient beast realm, and he used to be the blood soul beast. Qin Lai grinned. Right now he lacks the refined flesh and blood energy and powerful souls necessary to regrow his body and soul. Swoosh! His second subsoul, blood red in color, flew out of the blood soul beast's carcass and slipped into Zhu Han's soul altar in an instant. At the same time, 6 strange starlights winked out of Qin Lai's glabella before vanishing into nothingness. The spirits of void and chaos had entered into the incorporeal state the moment they left the soul-suppressing orb. It looked like they turned invisible. Ah! Stunned, Zhu Han suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream as his face and his soul altar started to distort all of a sudden. The spirits of void and chaos. It's the spirits of void and chaos. His spiral-shaped soul altar suddenly started to swell up like a balloon. The interior of his soul altar shook violently as if there were demons rampaging inside it. The spirit, body, and mind inside Zhu Han's soul altar started diminishing at a rapid pace. At the same time, Zhu Han's actual body started crumpling at a visible rate in complete contrast to his swelling soul altar. He suddenly turned dispirited and listless, almost as if something had sucked out his very flesh, blood, and bones. The spirits of void and chaos had the notorious nickname of soul altar devourers. For them, there was no tastier delicacy. After pulling them out of enemies' bodies, regardless of its height and the number of levels, the spirits of void and chaos would enter and indulge themselves. The majority of soul altars was made out of spirit materials of the 5 elements. Some of them were made out of one particular attribute such as metal, fire, or wood, while others were a mix of several elements. Zhu Han's 6th-level soul altar housed wondrous power of reincarnation and had been made with a mix of many different spirit materials. All 6 spirits of void and chaos could find something for themselves in a soul altar like this. Therefore, the second they flew into Zhu Han's soul altar, it started decomposing at a rate 6 times higher than normal. They had the rank 8 fire spirit which had subdued the soul altar and greatly decreased Zhu Han's control over it. At the same time, Qin Lai's second subsoul turned into a ray of light that also entered the 6th-level soul altar. The second subsoul was forged from Mao's soul, and soul power was of great benefit to it. Once he entered Zhu Han's soul altar, he absorbed Zhu Han's soul power like a sponge. The bane of soul altars were the 6 spirits of void and chaos. Adding on Qin Lai's second subsoul, Zhu Han had no ability to resist. Not worth a blow. Qin Lai's Kadak avatar saw Zhu Han's soul altar go out of control and immediately stopped his soul-devouring bloodline ability. That black whirlpool had been but a bait to force Zhu Han to release his 6th-level soul altar. When his subsoul and 6 spirits wreaked havoc inside, He no longer had a reason to fuel the black whirlpool that was the soul-devouring ability. This vicious soul beast made a grabbing motion as a powerful force pulled Zhu Han's physical body over. Whoosh! Zhu Han's shriveling body streaked towards the blood-soul beast. The eerie-looking blood-soul beast, with all its veins visible and wriggling, looked at the moving corpse, opened its maw and swallowed it. Boom! Zhu Han's body exploded in the stomach of the blood-soul beast, its flesh and blood immediately being refined. The blood-soul beast gradually grew flesh on its head after swallowing Zhu Han's body, while its eyes regained some of their gleam. "Come back!" Qin Lai suddenly shouted. The lizard progenitor who was chasing Pei Tianchong and the others heard the main soul's order and suddenly turned around. Qin Lai and his two avatars immediately moved towards Sky-bearing City. Inside Sky-bearing City, a shadow appeared between Qin Yi and Miao Yizi. The shadowy figure saw Qin Lai's return and pointed towards the prismatic shield covering Sky-bearing City. An opening appeared in this powerful barrier capable of warding off Genesis Realm experts. "Everyone, please enter the city," Qin Lai shouted. Crimson Blood Ape King and Heavenly Blue Snake King, who had been observing neutrally, frowned slightly as he shouted. The two Beast Kings looked into the distance. There seemed to be enormous soul altars moving like islands in the distant sky. One of them had 8 levels. "Boss Chun, return to the city," Dan Yuanqing shouted. He and Chun Lin felt an expert in the middle stage of the Genesis Realm expert coming and immediately abandoned their opponents. They quickly returned to Sky-bearing City through the hole created by the shadowy figure. The figure between Miao Yizi and Qin Yi slowly formed back into the cursed progenitor. The formation of Sky-bearing City has activated. Starting now, even 9-level soul altar experts will not be able to enter the city without my permission, the cursed progenitor said coolly. As he spoke, the other people outside the city aside from Heavenly Blue Snake King and Crimson Blood Ape King all returned. Qin Lai, the Dark Soul Beast and Blood Soul Beast avatars, Chun Lin, Dan Yuanqing, and the Lizard Progenitor all stood back in the city. Nothing will remain of Zhu Han's soul altar but scrap soon. His soul, I will slowly refine it. Qin Lai narrowed his eyes and looked at the spiral-looking 6-level soul altar floating in front of him under control of the spirits of void and chaos. He said to Qin Yi, "Second uncle, you can watch him die." "Great," Qin Yi said with joy. "It is Zhu Yang. He is Zhu Han's uncle. He cultivates water spirit power and is an 8-level soul altar monster." Chun Lin's expression was cold. He must have felt when Zhu Han's soul altar was invaded by the spirits of void and chaos, so he used some powerful secret art to traverse space and come here. Qin Lai snickered and said, "But he was a step late." Chun Lin nodded and looked at the shrinking 6-level soul altar. Then he looked towards Crimson Blood Ape King and Heavenly Blue Snake King outside the city, a hint of laughter in his eyes. Young Master has not failed to live up to expectations, and made the Beast Kings of the ancient beast race participate early. The ancient beast race wants their ancestral lands in Spirit Realm, Qin Lai said. Haha, the old patriarch guessed the ancient beast race would have a condition like this. Dan Yuanqing laughed and said, "Before we came, he told us to agree if ancient beast race presented such condition." "Grandfather predicted it?" Qin Lai stilled. Qin Yi nodded. He knew since long ago that ancient beast race wanted to return to Spirit Realm. Their past lands are now in the hands of Starry Hall and Ninth Heaven. That's why he knew the ancient beast race wouldn't side with the 6 forces. They are not ones to spit what they'd swallowed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As they spoke, a silvery river appeared in the sky above Sky-bearing City. There, an old person with white hair who was similar to Zhu Han appeared. The old man swiftly scanned the surroundings with lightning speed and noticed Zhu Han's soul altar floating in front of Qin Lai. "You dare attack prematurely," Zhu Yang shouted. He controlled the silvery river to flood towards Sky-bearing City. "Humph!" Heavenly Blue Snake King smiled coldly and said, "Are you blind? Did you not see we are also here?" Heavenly Blue Snake King's enormous body twisted as he landed into the silvery river like a demon creating a storm in the ocean. The attack failed. "Is the ancient beast race tired of living?" Zhu Yang was furious. You are welcome to come after us. We will be waiting in ancient beast realm. If you survive the attack of the god race, that is. Heavenly Blue Snake King answered with a dark smile. I'm afraid the six forces will soon cease to exist and will be forced to flee spirit realm by the god race. Crimson Blood Ape King said mockingly. Heavenly Blue Snake King flew into the silvery river hovering in the sky and twisted his body. Zhu Yang's mist-like soul altar shuddered violently. Silvery spears and ripples of light splashed out of the river in the sky, turning it into an ocean. Heavenly Blue Snake King, in his actual form, was like a winding mountain range in the sky. The bloodline abilities of Heavenly Blue Snake King were connected to ice and water. When he used his bloodline power, Zhu Yang's river stopped responding. As Zhu Yang shouted angrily, Heavenly Blue Snake King hissed coldly and used another ability of his bloodline, this time connected to frost power. The white cold mist rose off his winding and long snake body and flowed into the river. Crack, crack, crack. The river pulled from Zhu Yang's 8-level soul altar started to freeze after being permeated with Heavenly Blue Snake King's white cold mist. In the blink of an eye, the flowing river became a huge winding chunk of ice. Zhu Yang's 8-level soul altar that floated above the river was affected by Heavenly Blue Snake King's frost power. The bottom 2 levels slowly froze. Sitting in the soul altar, Zhu Yang's white hair and brows showed hints of frost. Heavenly Blue Snake King, it seems you do not care about the lives of your clansmen. I, Zhu Yang, swear here, if we survive the god race's invasion, we will gather all of our strength and head immediately to ancient beast realm. Zhu Yang was completely infuriated as he threatened harshly. Your clansmen will encounter bloody retribution because of your actions today. Ninth Heaven will also attack the ancient beast race with full power. Pei Tianchong, who was standing in the distance and did not dare to come close, agreed. Oh really? Crimson Blood Ape King grinned, his eyes flashing with savagery. You six forces really think you are the only masters of this place? Haha. Forget the god race. I fear you won't even be able to stop the Qin family from returning. What does the Qin family have to fight us? Pei Tianchong shouted. You will know in 3 days, Crimson Blood Ape King said coldly. Shatter! Zhu Yang shouted angrily. Crystal droplets of water suddenly flew out of Zhu Yang's 8-level soul altar. Those droplets shone with mysterious light and seemed to have entire ocean within them. When the droplets appeared, they fell like bombs towards the frozen river, which shattered like a mirror. The water once again started to flow and the river came to life. The bottom levels of Zhu Yang's soul altar began to thaw and move again. Qi Shui, return! Heavenly Blue Snake King called. His mountainous body suddenly shrank into a bolt of blue lightning. Crimson Blood Ape King looked at Pei Tianchong in the distance and said, In 3 days, the elders of ancient beast race will go to Ninth Heaven. As he spoke, he and Heavenly Blue Snake King both disappeared together into the star door. When the 2 beast kings disappeared, the star door that had mysteriously appeared suddenly shattered and dissipated. In the next moment, even more soul altars appeared inside Sky-bearing City. Through the layers of light, Qin Lai looked coldly at Zhu Yang, Pei Tianchong, Wu Nanchao, Kong Kuan, and the others. Curse progenitor. Can this sky-bearing city really block them? Not just Zhu Yang's 8-level soul altar, even if a 9-level soul altar expert comes, sky-bearing city can still keep them outside its doors. The curse progenitor said coolly. Qin Lai looked in surprise at him and then glanced at Qin Yi. Second uncle. Qin Yi smiled slightly. Sky-bearing city's power comes from the vast spirit power of spirit realm. The source of a great portion of the spirit power comes from the lands of the 6 forces. Once the Genesis realm experts of the 6 forces attack Sky-bearing city, the city will automatically absorb the world's spirit energy inside the lands of the 6 forces to replenish the barriers and defensive formations. Miao Yitzi shouted, Absorb the world's spirit energy inside the lands of the 6 forces to replenish Sky-bearing city. Yes, the curse progenitor confirmed. 3 centuries ago, the old patriarch of the Qin family was secretly setting this up. However, before his plan was realized, that matter occurred. Otherwise, he glanced towards Qin Lai. Qin Lai understood. He immediately understood that Han Qian's scheme against him had disrupted the Qin family's plan. The source of Sky-bearing City's power comes from the spirit mines and ores underneath the six forces, and the spirit energy hidden above the six forces. Qin Ye's expression grew serious. As long as the six forces attack Sky-bearing City, they will quickly find the world's spirit energy in their borders withering dramatically. Clever, Qin Lai said joyfully. Let's go, ignore those people outside. They cannot enter Sky-bearing City no matter how much time they are given. Qin Yi ignored the newcomers and said, I will go and explain the situation here, see what father will arrange and if we should get more people here. Originally, we prepared to secretly activate Sky-bearing City in 3 days when ninth heaven is attracting attention. Chunlin explained to Qin Lai. We did not expect you to step into Sky-bearing City early with the body of the cursed progenitor in your possession. When the body and soul of the cursed progenitor merged, Sky-bearing City was successfully activated. So that's how it is, Qin Lai said. Thank you, cursed progenitor. Qin Yi bowed and thanked. The cursed progenitor's expression was wooden and he said, You are Qin Tian's descendants. I named the Sky-bearing City to remember him. Sky-bearing City is to leave a thread of hope for the human race when they cannot win against the other powerful races. As long as the Qin family does not abandon this principle, and does not scheme with other races against the human race, Sky-bearing City and I will forever support the Qin family. Pausing, he looked with slight resentment at Qin Lai and said, Also, this boy has added many mysterious restraints on my physical body. Now I fear it will not be so easy for me to leave the Qin family. I am so unlucky. In the past, I was subdued by Qin Tian. Then Qin Shan saw the secret of Sky-bearing City and expanded with it at the center to make this the main base of the Qin family. Now my physical body is being suppressed by this boy with a secret method. When the words were said, Qin Yi and Qin Lai all had awkward expressions. When you return, tell Qin Shan that an old person from the spirit race also made repairs to Sky-bearing City. If not for that person who calls himself the Great Master Tian Qi, even if my soul merged with my physical body, Sky-bearing City would not have been activated so easily. The cursed progenitor thought for a moment and said, That old spirit race clansman also changed some things. It is best if your father can take a look and make sure there was no sabotage. Oh right, that great master Tian Qi said he had no malicious intent and told me to relay this message to grandfather. Qin Lai added in, A spirit race clansman. Qin Yi nodded to indicate his understanding. Then he said to Qin Lai, Your grandfather is busy with something very important in these 3 days. After that, he will come find you. Oh, I'm not in a hurry, Qin Lai murmured. No one from the six forces is stationed in the land of chaos. The silver rank forces following you can return, Qin Yi said as well. Understood. Qin Lai smiled. Sky-bearing City. Qin Yi returned through the door of 9 back to Olden Warm Realm. The rest, including Chun Lin, Dan Yuanqing, Miao Yitzi and Qin Lai with his soul slaves remained in the city. Qin Yi realized that Qin Lai's blood-soul beast avatar had just been refined and didn't have enough soul and fleshly energy. When he left, he told Qin Lai not to worry. He promised he would bring enough flesh to restore blood-soul beast to its former state when he came back. Qin Lai waited at Sky-bearing City for the Grand Conference in 3 days. During this time, the Genesis Realm experts of the six forces came in waves and gathered outside Sky-bearing City. The Genesis Realm experts led by Zhu Yang of Reincarnation sect tried to use their spirit artifacts and soul altars to attack Sky-bearing City. Qin Lai, who was residing within the city, saw cursed progenitor disappear for a while. Shortly after, the prismatic barrier covering Sky-bearing City released bright ripples of potent energy. In that moment, a surge of spirit power rose from underneath Sky-bearing City. The dense spirit power was like waterfall that flooded the prismatic barrier and caused Sky-bearing City to shine as though it was protected by divine beings and beasts. The Genesis Realm experts who attempted to shatter Sky-bearing City lost the first bout. The next 2 days were unusually calm. The Genesis Realm experts from the six forces didn't dare to move recklessly. SST. The blood soul beast, whose bloody sinews moved on the surface of the bones, had green lightning flashing in its eyes. Whoosh! The blood soul beast spat out a soul shadow the size of the fist. That soul shadow twisted, its appearance resembling Zhu Han. After 2 days, former pope of Reincarnation sect was like a ghoul. The blood soul beast's soul devouring had drained 9/10 of his soul's power. If the blood soul beast continued, Zhu Han's soul would completely collapse, and even his soul origin and memories would be destroyed. Do not worry. I will not let you die easily. In the dim palace, the blood soul beast laughed and said in the language of spirit realm, when my second uncle returns from Olden Warm realm, I will give your soul origin to him and have him slowly kill you. Zhu Han's soul twisted violently like a snarling ghost. The blood soul beast ignored it. Whoosh! A blurry figure flew into the palace, slowly turning into cursed progenitor. His arrival brightened the palace, illuminating the dark soul beast in the corner. This palace was part of the Qin family in Sky-bearing City. Right outside was a plaza with a large teleportation formation that could reach all places of spirit realm. Qin Lai's main body was discussing the details of their trip to Ninth Heaven in the day after tomorrow with Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing. His 2 soul beast avatars stayed in this dim palace, allowing the blood soul beast to extract soul power from Zhu Han's soul so that Qin Lai could do as he wished. Cursed progenitor, why have you come here? Qin Lai's dark soul beast avatar turned into the appearance of his main body when the cursed progenitor arrived. He said, I understand now. You should be the artifact soul of Sky-bearing City. And this Sky-bearing City is an enormous spirit artifact. Is that so? Yes, in order to stop the pursuit of the god race back then, I deliberately ignited my soul and allowed the remnant souls to merge into Sky-bearing City. The cursed progenitor did not refute it and said, your family's ancestor, Qin Tian, once was possessed by a soul race clansman. In the end, he used his astounding willpower to securely control his own body, and then merged the knowledge of the soul race to benefit the human race. The human race was able to learn the secrets of the soul, and use that understanding to create their current cultivation system, soul altars, due to your ancestor's guidance. I hope that you can be like your ancestor, and use your knowledge of the soul to open a new door for the human race. Also, I hope that you will not accidentally draw the abyss devils to spirit realm. If the beasts of the abyss flood into spirit realm like the god race, the results will be 10 times more catastrophic. You have to protect the realm entrance between Baluo realm and the frost desolation abyss. Nothing can happen to it. Qin Lai stilled and said, 5 progenitors blocked the abyss channel in the ocean of the land of chaos. To prevent the wards from being destroyed, you set up a curse on the entire land of chaos, so that it is several times more difficult to reach the void realm. Before he stopped speaking, the cursed progenitor interrupted him and said, back then, we used the 5 continents and a curse to ward the land of chaos. It was to stop the sea race there. We had no way of expecting that the human race would soar in power soon after and become the spirit realm's overlord. I understand your original intentions. Qin Lai nodded and said, but I need to ask, why did you not just destroy the abyss channel then, and just blocked it instead? Not long ago, when he and Indigo reached the abyss channel together, he learned through Indigo that the abyss channel was just a star door the 8-eyed demon spirit had made with its essence blood. After that, when the cursed progenitor and the others put barriers and wards on the star door, the essence blood that formed the abyss channel had even awakened to consciousness of its own. From cursed progenitor's words, it was clear that he feared abyss devils greatly. Why hadn't they destroyed it and had only blocked it? We were not strong enough then, and did not know enough about realms and space. We did not have absolute confidence that we would not cause any other changes when we destroyed that abyss channel. We did not dare to act rashly. The cursed progenitor thought for a moment and explained, also, your ancestor thought there was a need to leave it. If the god race decided to massacre spirit realm and all beings, he would reopen the abyss channel and let the beings of the realm on the other side with the god race instead. That abyss channel is one last tactic against the god race. If the god race is too much, and the races of Spirit Realm have no hope of survival, the Abyss Channel will open again. Qianlai stilled and said, "Why did you come find me? If the 5 families of the God race come together, will the races of Spirit Realm have any chance of winning?" The cursed progenitor said seriously. Qianlai shook his head. "I do not know." The cursed progenitor thought for a while and suddenly said, "If I can persuade the 6 forces so that they do not think of the Qin family as enemies, and have them ally with the Qin family to fight the God race, will the Qin family forgive past wrongs, and not exact revenge for the events 3 centuries ago?" Qianlai's expression darkened. He sneered and said, "What would you use to persuade the 6 forces? I'm merely asking, will you let go of the hatred if the 6 forces fight against the God race?" The cursed progenitor pressed. "You should discuss this matter with my grandfather and father," Qianlai replied coldly. "I talked to them a long time ago, but they refused." The cursed progenitor grimaced. "My attitude is the same." Qianlai's expression was cold. "If the Qin family and the 6 forces fight, it will cause upheaval in Spirit Realm. Many powerful races will participate." The cursed progenitor sighed and said, "Even if all the races of Spirit Realm work together, they may not be able to stop the 5 families of the God race. If the races of Spirit Realm fight now, and the God race comes, then we may not have any hope of victory." The cursed progenitor had a conflicted expression. He was clearly worried for the state of Spirit Realm and wished to do what's best for the races of Spirit Realm. Qianlai's expression was dark. He found he did not understand the cursed progenitor at all. He did not understand how the cursed progenitor thought he could persuade the 6 forces. The body of the cursed progenitor had been inscribed with many mysterious patterns through the refinement of the soul-suppressing orb. He could use the soul race's secret arts to restrain the cursed progenitor's body slightly, like how he could control Jiang-En and Shueli. But the cursed progenitor was not his soul slave. He could not see the cursed progenitor's thoughts and secret through his soul. "I hope to do my best for the races of Spirit Realm, even if my methods are not understood by the people." The cursed progenitor sighed. Qianlai had a confused expression. Before he asked again, the cursed progenitor's body disappeared. Qianlai frowned in the dim hall and had a bad feeling. In the day after next, the experts of all forces will come to 9th Heaven. If there are no surprises, there will be a great battle at 9th Heaven. Qianlai's expression was dark and he murmured, "The cursed progenitor seems to want to do something from his words. What does he want to do?" Outside the realm, in the void near the Dragon Realm, there were countless chunks of icy rocks. Each was as hard as steel. Some chunks were as large as glaciers, and others were only the size of a thumbnail. The varied pieces were chaotically scattered throughout the space. This place was called Shattered Ice Realm. The ice fragments would occasionally explode because of the movements in the void outside. Even Genesis Realm experts would be seriously injured if they rashly entered. The Shattered Ice Realm was a natural forbidden zone since time immemorial. The Dragon Realm of the Dragon Race was not far from Shattered Ice Realm. Even so, dragons would avoid the Shattered Ice Realm during any expeditions through space. There was a rumor that once, a dragon with Frost attribute bloodline attempted to use the ice there to increase its bloodline power. However, it died. In the coming years, dragons with ice-oriented bloodlines wouldn't dare touch Shattered Ice Realm. But at that day, in the Shattered Ice Realm, which should have been desolate, an enormous glacier was being affected by some mysterious external power and was about to explode. It was not an uncommon occurrence in the Shattered Ice Realm. The enormous glacier would cease to exist. Then its debris would fall onto the larger pieces. Hundreds of years later, they would give birth to another enormous glacier. Pia pia pia. Crack crack crack. Many enormous chunks of ice flew out of the exploding glacier and shot outwards. Whoosh whoosh. Blinding light appeared inside the giant glacier, which contained clear spatial power. Boom boom boom. After the glacier had been completely shattered, only an icy ball of light was left in the original spot. The ice ball expanded visibly like a balloon. Inside, billions of rays of light shot out in a dazzling manner. A long time later, the ice ball gradually solidified and became a beautiful ice door. Frosty mist moved inside the arched door. It was difficult to see within, but cold energy constantly flew out of the door. Crack, crack, crack. A crystal ship thousands of meters long made from silvery ice came out of the door. That enormous ship was vast and magnificent, like a floating ice palace carved with complicated and mysterious patterns. Clansmen of a foreign race dressed grandly, and with silver hair appeared on the ship as it passed through the enormous doors. If Qianlai was here, he would immediately recognize that these were members of the god race's profound ice family. Boom, boom, boom. After this enormous ship, there was another similar ship made from ice that passed through the doors. At the front end of the first ship, Xian Luo of the profound ice family stood beside a group of experts and examined the surroundings curiously. This is... A person stood with hands behind his back and looked towards the distant dragon realm. Their pupils contracted and they shouted, "Dragon realm ahead!" The profound ice family experts were shocked by this. How could the ice stone passageway lead here? Logically, our destination should be in the distant ice jade realm. From ice jade realm to spirit realm, we need at least 2 more years. How come we have reached shattered ice realm around spirit realm now? What happened? That ice stone passageway cannot reach this place. So strange. How come the ice stone passageway changed destinations? Xian Luo also had a shocked expression. The plan was for the profound ice family to first pass through the ice stone passageway they had explored long ago to first reach ice jade realm and then proceed to spirit realm. The ships they rode needed 2 to 3 years to truly reach spirit realm. According to their promise with the other families, everyone would gather near spirit realm in 2 years and enter together. But now they were 2 years early. Patriarch, what to do now? An expert of the profound ice family asked. The one who had spoken first was the patriarch of the profound ice family, Han Che. This person was like 1,000-years-old ice sculpture. His face seemed to have been carved out of ice, handsome and masculine. Send one person back to notify the other families and have them come through our path. Han Che thought for a moment and said, other than the Blaze family, the other 3 families should be able to follow immediately. Reaching spirit realm early makes no difference for us. Understood. One person hurriedly left. Han Che continued to command. This place is dangerous and the Arctic powers here are chaotic. They are suitable for us to make a preliminary base. Leave a spaceship here, and immediately stabilize frost power to turn this ice and stone area into an area suitable for our family to be active in. The other starship and the rank 10 Bloodline elders will accompany me to sneak into Dragon Realm and attack them first. Yes, the profound ice family. Members responded with excitement. Boom, boom, boom. The starship that Han Che was on moved towards Dragon Realm like a spatial colossal beast in the stars, crushing the small pieces of ice and stone. The starship, which was thousands of meters long, was covered by a layer of icy light left shattered ice realm. In mere 3 seconds, this enormous ship hid between the stars. Even the bloodline presence of the profound ice family experts on the ship was. The starship and the profound ice family on it suddenly disappeared. An hour later, this invisible starship came to the spatial crystal barrier around the Dragon Realm. The starship released water-like ripples from the top. The profound ice family starship did not shatter the crystal barrier. Following the ripples, it easily passed through the natural barrier as if it was air. 15 minutes later, the 1,000-meter starship suddenly appeared in the cloudless sky of Dragon Realm. In the dense forests, the shaded valleys, the flowing volcanoes, the poisonous bogs, the lazy giant dragons accidentally glanced towards the sky and gave off furious roars. Foreign race invasion. The foreign race has come. Tear them apart. The dragon race clansmen furiously flew into the sky from all parts of Dragon Realm. This is the dragon race of Spirit Realm? Xian Luo frowned. It seems to be so. The patriarch of the profound ice family, Han Che, looked down as the dragons rose into the sky. He shook his head and said, "Too weak. They are a tier below the abyss devils of the ice stone abyss. Kill these giant dragons, and store more food for our campaign on Spirit Realm." The experts around him were like cold glaciers, their eyes filled with white cold energy. Han Che thought for a moment and said, "The Dragon Realm is our first stop. We can freeze this world, and all the dragons here to provide food for us at any time. Good idea. Freeze. Han Che, the patriarch of the profound ice family, ordered his family members to freeze the giant dragons as food to store. Frosty mist came down from the enormous ship, like waves of Arctic tides that shrouded the mountain ranges below. Bloodline ability. Ancient glacier. The dragon realm below instantly froze, its season turning from hot summer into cold winter. The cold currents were like a misty sea that drowned the mountain range. The areas which were moderately hot and the areas with volcanoes underwent an astounding transformation. Everywhere the white frost passed, the volcanoes stopped boiling, the ancient trees turning into crystal ice statues, and the brown earth froze over. The mountains covered in ancient trees turned into ice mountains in a short time. The roar of the giant dragons came from the changing deep valleys, filled with anger and restlessness. Lowly worms dare to rampage in front of us. A rank 10 bloodline warrior grinned darkly and flew down with a long spear into the mountain range. This person wore silvery armor, was extremely handsome, and his eyes were bright. Cold flame ice explosion. As the silver spear moved, the cold tide below suddenly turned into Arctic flame. The ancient trees, stone, and mountains exploded from the permeation of cold power and turned into ice blades. The ice blades rained down under the control of the Arctic flame and flew towards the valley the giant dragons were roaring from. In seconds, the deep valley filled with ice blades. The ice blades penetrated the enormous bodies of the dragons and nailed them to the ground, their backs facing the sky. The blood bleeding from the giant dragons froze and glittered under the icy light. On the ship, Han Che spread his soul consciousness to search for the rank 10 dragons. Strange. A beat later, Han Che shook his head with confusion. What is it? One person asked. I heard the Darkness family and Blaze family say that the dragon race of Spirit Realm is very powerful and should have many rank 10 bloodlines. Han Che frowned and said, but I probed around and can only sense 3 dragons that have reached rank 10 bloodline in this dragon realm. They are much weaker, the other said in surprise. Spread out and capture the dragons. After freezing them, we will gather below, Han Che commanded. Take all the rank 8 dragons onto the ship and transport back to Shattered Ice Realm. Also, go and immediately destroy the realm entrance of the dragon realm to avoid any accidents. All right. In the desert of Dragon Realm, the 3 giant dragons roared angrily, looking at the twisting realm entrance, their eyes filled with urgency. That realm entrance could connect to Spirit Realm and also other realms outside. It was crucial for the communication between the dragon race and other races. The 3 giant dragons who possessed rank 10 bloodline immediately had a bad feeling when the ship of the Profound Ice family suddenly appeared, and Han Che along with the God race experts stopped concealing their bloodline vibrations. They urgently wanted to communicate with the giant dragon patriarch Affleck through the realm entrance and tell Affleck and the other 2 rank 10 dragons to return. But before the ship appeared, the realm entrance of the dragon realm became turbulent. The 3 giant dragons who wanted to send a message through the realm entrance could only wait urgently seeing the realm entrance not settling. They knew no matter how eager they were, before the realm entrance stabilized, they could not step in. Otherwise, even with their rank 10 bloodline, they could be killed by the explosion. The realm entrance must be affected by the invaders. A giant dragon who gave off flames roared and said urgently, we can only use our secret blood art to tell Affleck and hope he can use other ways to return quickly to Dragon Realm. We must also leave. I feel those invaders are coming towards us. Another golden giant dragon roared. I will use the bloodline secret art. The flame giant dragon made its resolve. As he roared, blood flowed out of his enormous eyes, each droplet adorned with unique dragon-shaped patterns. Threads of soul thoughts were imprinted on the dragon-shaped blood patterns as the golden dragon roared. They slowly disappeared, and the flame giant dragon continued to bleed from his eyes. Spirit Realm, 9th Heaven. An old hale man with dragon horns and a dragon beard was laughing as he boasted about the prosperity of the giant dragon race to pay Dahong. Our giant dragon race has 6 clansmen who have reached rank 10 bloodline. Haha, the ancient beast race only has the 4 beast kings, and the 9-tailed fox king only recently reached rank 10. Affleck laughed and said, the ancient beast race is not much with the giant dragon race's strength. We can fight the ancient beast race and demon dragon race at the same time. Right now, we know that the ancient beast race and demon dragon race are supporting the Qin family. The giant dragon race is enough to deal with them. Affleck looked at the Azura race and the Sea race, as well as some other smaller races, saying proudly, the giant dragon race is the strongest ally of the 6 forces. When we ally and kill the Qin family, the giant dragon race must benefit the most. The Azura race, Sea race, and Grey Wing race clansmen had discontent expressions but did not dare to argue. Affleck did have reasons to boast so. The giant dragon race had 6 rank 10 bloodline giant dragons. They were stronger than the other races. Even the 6 forces, on their own, were possibly slightly weaker than the giant dragon race. Because there were 6 rank 10 bloodline giant dragons, Affleck's attitude was very domineering when he talked to the human 6 forces. After the Qin family is destroyed, the giant dragons can be the first to choose from the realms the Qin family has. Pei Dehong said coolly. Good. I take your word for it. Ha ha ha. Affleck laughed. Yet his laughter only lasted moments before blood flowed out of the corner of his eyes. Dragon-shaped patterns suddenly appeared in the blood. A section of ancient dragon language flew out and exploded in Affleck's mind. Affleck seemed to be struck by a heavy blow. 9th Heaven's base consisted of 9 levels, the top one piercing the clouds. It was where the top existences of Spirit Realm currently held a meeting. The peak experts of the races that could cause Spirit Realm to tremble with a stomp of their foot were all looking with confusion at Affleck. Affleck, who had just been bragging about the foundation of the giant dragon race, had tears of blood rolling down his face. He looked sad and horrific. The drops of this blood had clear dragon-shaped marks discernible with a naked eye. Affleck, what happened? Pei Dehong's expression was grave and he showed no schadenfreude. He said, no matter what, we will stand with the giant dragon race. Tell everyone. Have the experts of the Qin family started a covert attack on the dragon realm? The experts of Azura race and Sea race heard Pei Dehong's words and, convinced by his words, showed angry expressions. 2 days later, they would discuss ways of dealing with the Qin family. It did not surprise them that the Qin family would do something beforehand. For example, Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing's actions in Sky-bearing City and killing Zhu Han were thought of as the last death throes of the Qin family. They naturally thought the Qin family were in danger. The Qin family knew they could not win against the 6 factions and other races, so they tried to do as much damage as possible beforehand. In the end, it was just a minor annoyance. Killing Zhu Han was not a major matter to them. In their eyes, the giant dragon race was the strongest ally of the 6 factions. It was likely that the Qin family would harass the dragon realm before the conference to raise their spirits. No, not the Qin family. Affleck panted heavily, the blood imprinted with dragon-shaped patterns disappearing from his eyes. He took a deep breath, suppressing the urgency he felt, his eyes flashing with light. Light gathered in front of Affleck's chest and showed clear scenes. The starships, the profound ice family warriors, the frozen land below them, the giant dragons nailed to the ground by ice spikes. The invasion occurring in the dragon realm was projected to all as light gathered in Affleck's eyes. The giant dragons howled as they were captured alive by the members of the profound ice family. They were shoved into the starships like caught snakes. This scene caused everyone to frown. How could this be? Who are they? I've never seen them before. They dare to attack the dragon realm. The experts were shocked. God race. Profound ice family. Pei Dehong shouted. The Qin family must have reached a secret agreement with the God race. The Qin family helped them enter the dragon realm. This must be so. An Azura RC expert shouted. The experts of the other foreign races nodded, already convinced that the Qin family were spies of the God race. In their eyes, since Qin Lai, the 3rd generation of the Qin family, possessed the God race bloodline, then the Qin family and the God race were bloodkin. The recent signs of the God race returning must have been due to Qin family working together with some God race clansmen. Now that Spirit Realm's conference on the Qin family's matter was going to be held the day after tomorrow, clansmen of the god race were suddenly entering Dragon Realm. Wasn't this all due to the Qin family? The realm entrance connecting Dragon Realm to Spirit Realm is being affected by a mysterious force, and is still unstable. Affleck was restless as he said, "Think fast and help me find the fastest way to enter Dragon Realm. If we cannot reach Dragon Realm soon, my race might be exterminated. Go through the sea race. This is the fastest way. But even so, we will need 3 to 5 days to reach Dragon Realm." Pei Dehong's brow furrowed and he said, "But the day after tomorrow is when we agreed to face the Qin family. I don't have time to care about Qin family for now," Affleck shouted, his eyes glaring at a sea race clansman. He said, "I want to immediately borrow the realm entrance of the sea race." "Up to you," the sea race clansman replied. "Go. We are heading to Dragon Realm immediately," Affleck said in a hurry. The other 2 giant dragons were silent. They also wanted to go through Ninth Heaven's realm entrance, reach the sea race's territory and fly to Dragon Realm. Just as they were about to leave, Pei Dehong sighed and said, "Affleck, do you think you 3 can save Dragon Realm from the profound ice family of the god race?" Affleck's body suddenly froze. 30,000 years ago, just the Blaze family and Darkness family of the god race were enough to enslave the races of Spirit Realm. Pei Tianchong's expression was solemn as he said, "We've always known there were other families. Bloodthirst family, Light family, and Profound Ice family. These 3 didn't seem to be any weaker than the 2 families that had enslaved us. After 20,000 years, the rumors say that the Blaze family has been weakened because they lost their flesh-filling tombstone, as well as their last patriarch. But the Bloodthirst, Light, and Profound Ice families are ones we have never met before. We only heard the members of the Darkness family and Blaze family mention them. That giant ship has many warriors, and seems like forces on it are quite powerful." Pei Dehong paused, sighed, and said, "Maybe, by the time you reach the Dragon Realm, all the dragons will have already met their demise. And you 3, even if you reach Dragon Realm, you may not be a match for those invaders and will lose your lives for nothing." "Pei Dehong, you want me to watch as my clansmen are massacred?" Affleck howled. Pei Dehong shook his head and ignored Affleck's temper. He turned to the others. "No matter if you are willing to admit it, from the moment the Profound Ice family entered the Dragon Realm, our war with the god race has started again." The experts nodded solemnly. "I fear we cannot avoid this war." Pei Dehong took a deep breath and said, "If so, we need to first heavily injure the Profound Ice family before the other families of the god race are able to enter Spirit Realm. As for the Qin family hiding in the shadows, if the god race is defeated, what can they do?" "This is correct," a sea race expert said. The patriarch of the giant dragons, Affleck, heard Pei Dehong's words, calming down. "You mean to say, you want to enter the Dragon Realm with us?" Affleck asked uncertainly. "The wisest course of action for everyone gathered here and other Genesis Realm experts or rank 10 warriors is to reach the Dragon Realm immediately. We have to gather our forces and wound or use up power of the Profound Ice family before the army of the god race arrives," Pei Dehong said calmly. Sky-bearing City. Qinlai gradually gained a new understanding of the Qin family's forces hiding through Chunlin and Dan Yuanqing's descriptions. The 12 factions under the Qin family were wounded to different degrees when fighting the 6 forces in the past. However, when your father's soul altar shattered, we realized we were not a match for the 6 forces and immediately left Spirit Realm. We continued to hide outside the realm and saved the majority of our power. Chunlin continued his explanation. Those 12 factions are stronger than before after 3 centuries of rest. And among them, for Genesis Realm experts were born, your Uncle Dan one of them. The Qin family has 3 foreign delegates other than your father also in the Genesis Realm. Your grandfather also gained loyalty of a few rank 10 clansmen of foreign races during traveling. These races are not present in Spirit Realm, but they have powerful bloodlines. The Qin family has more than a dozen Genesis Realm and rank 10 bloodline experts. Outsiders do not know this. Among the experts outside the realm, the giant dragon race of the dragon realm are powerful, but there are just 6 giant dragons with rank 10 bloodline. The ancient beast race is strong, but only the 4 beast kings have reached rank 10. The 5 sea kings of the sea race are rank 10, but their combat prowess is too low. They are even weaker than the ancient beast race. Based on our information, the human 6 forces have about 5 Genesis realm experts each. The Qin family's true strength is enough to match any 2 of the 6 forces and have the upper hand. Chunlin narrowed his eyes and thought for a moment. He added, maybe, with the Qin family's own forces, we can fight 3 of the 6 forces and not be defeated. This is only some of the information I know. As for the other trump cards your grandfather and father may have, even I do not know. Qin Lai was shocked. A dozen Genesis realm experts and rank 10 bloodline warriors. The 12 subordinate factions stronger than in the past. The Qin family alone could face 3 gold rank forces. This was the true Qin family? He found it hard to imagine. Why has the Qin family's strength increased 3-fold compared to their past peak in the last 3 centuries? Miao Yitzi had an expression of disbelief. When the Qin family and Ninth Heaven fought before, there were only 4 Genesis realm experts, and none of them were in the late stage. How did the Qin family accumulate such powerful forces in such a short amount of time? She was as disbelieving as Qin Lai. Chunlin glanced at Dan Yuanqing and said, "You explain." Dan Yuanqing snickered and said, "In the end, it is because our explorations of the outer space went farther than expeditions of all the races of Spirit Realm. When the races of Spirit Realm were active in the areas of Spirit Realm where we stayed 3 centuries ago, you father went twice into forbidden zones of the endless void. The first time, when he returned, he came back with a child. We all know the first time he explored the forbidden lands, that should have been a place where escapees of the god race lived. However, he did not say much about your birth and history, and that mysterious place. The second time, he stepped into Dark Shadow World and came back alive. 3 centuries ago, when we escaped the spirit realm, your father's soul took his shattered soul altar and once again disappeared into lands unknown. He's been gone for a long time, and no one knew where he'd gone. But when he returned, his shattered soul altar had been reforged, and he was preparing to build the 9th level. Maybe only your grandfather knows his experiences in the secret regions. We only know that his strength and cultivation are different each time he returns. Just like your father, your grandfather gradually guided us after we stepped out of the realm and went deeper into the stars. When we went far enough, we could encounter some unknown foreign races and see more realms. The realms of those strange races will sometimes produce rare treasures. We would build fair business relationships with them. The wealth we obtained surpasses your imagination. You should know this from Baluo realm. Qin Lai nodded in agreement. Dan Yuanqing smiled and said, "Some races are only a small branch and were persuaded by your grandfather to become a part of the Qin family. Those races have powerful clansmen whose bloodlines have reached rank 10 through your grandfather's financial support. On top of that, subordinates like us had late void realm cultivation in spirit realm. When we went out and explored the stars, our knowledge and vision was broadened. With the support of found treasures, many of them unknown to spirit realm, we easily created our 7-level soul altars and entered the Genesis realm. The Qin family managed to collectively grow so strong in 3 centuries through relying on constant exploration. When the 6 forces were busy invading the realms of minor races of spirit realm, the Qin family steps have reached distance the 6 forces couldn't even begin to imagine." Dan Yuanqing concluded, "This is why the Qin family has always been stronger than the 6 forces." Qin Lai and Miao Yitzi listened intently. Through Chunlin and Dan Yuanqing's explanations, they finally had a deep understanding of the Qin family's present foundations. No wonder the Qin family dares to appear at 9th heaven the day after tomorrow. Miao Yitzi's eyes were bright. On that day, when the Qin family forces arrive at 9th heaven, I wonder what expressions the 6 forces will have. Don't forget about the 4 beast kings, 2 brothers of the demon dragon race, the Genesis realm experts of Skymender Palace, And the G family. Dan Yuanqing smiled proudly and said, "This is our public manpower, and we are not weaker than the six forces. I want to see if the giant dragon race, the Azura race, the sea race, and those who have come out of greed will really have the determination to fight to the death alongside the six forces." Chun Lin turned back and looked at the palace behind him, saying, "When young Master's two avatars recover their rank 10 bloodlines from 30,000 years ago, and reappear as a Blood Soul Beast and Dark Soul Beast, the Azura and Giant Dragon races will cry." Dan Yuanqing's eyes lit up, and he said with a smile, "Haha, I forgot you are also completely different. The foreign races of Boluo realm will create at least 3 to 4 rank 10 bloodlines in the next century. By that time, the silver rank forces from the Land of Chaos that chose to swear to you may reach the same strength level as Lunar Temple and Sun Palace. By that time, boy, only your faction will be equivalent to a gold rank force. You may not be much weaker than Ninth Heaven." Miao Yitzi hear him say this, looked at Qin Lai, and her eyes flashed. She knew that Dan Yuanqing was not speaking empty words. Tang Yuan, Nivit, and Tyler of the Black Jail race, along with other foreign race experts like Barrett, were at the peak of rank 9 bloodlines. After the hardship in the Frost Desolation Abyss, and their experience fighting the Abyss Devils, it was not an exaggeration if 3 or 4 of them reached rank 10 bloodline in a century. The Land of Chaos forces also grew in strength after being in the Frost Desolation Abyss all this time. Of them, Forefather Terminator, Jiang Zhuzhe, Jiang En, and Shueli all were in the Void Realm. Even Miao Yitzi could not predict what heights they would reach in a century. She had no reason to believe the forces from the Land of Chaos could be as strong as Lunar Temple and Sun Palace in a century. The forces of Boluo realm and the Land of Chaos, as well as Qin Lai's Azura race soul slaves, all acknowledged Qin Lai as their leader. In the future, manpower under Qin Lai's command would not be any weaker than any of the 6 gold rank forces. As Qin Lai grew, so would his forces. As a result, his faction would be even stronger. Miao Yitzi looked deeply at Qin Lai and seemed to see another Qin family being slowly created by Qin Lai alone with his own power. This was even more impressive than Qin Hao turning the Qin family into a gold rank force using the original foundation. Qin Lai, Chun Lin, and the others were still discussing the state of the world and their plans for the upcoming fight. ZZT. The teleportation formation on the plaza in front of them flashed with light and gave off clear spatial fluctuations. Someone is coming through. Chun Lin's brow shifted. The people talking narrowed their eyes and looked curiously at the teleportation formation. Whoosh! A figure flew out of the formation. Ji Yao. Chun Lin stilled slightly. After that, more figures flew out of the teleportation formation. Ji Yuan, Hua Anyang of Skymender Palace, and some experts of the Ji family and Skymender Palace had solemn expressions and frowns. Chun Lin stilled for a while and immediately had a bad feeling. He said, "What happened? Did the 6 forces attack you prematurely?" Qin Lai's expression darkened and he said, "Is it because we killed Zhu Han?" He and Chun Lin thought the Ji family and Skymender Palace came because the 6 forces attacked the Ji family and Skymender Palace after failing to enter Sky-bearing City. It would be good if it was the 6 forces. Ji Yao shook his head bitterly and said, "The god race came early." Qin Lai and Chun Lin all had shocked expressions that darkened at the words. "We have spies among the 6 forces, and we just received news the profound ice family of the god race appeared not long ago in Dragon Realm, hunting and killing the dragons of the giant dragon race." Ji Yao explained with a grimace. "Ninth Heaven has exploded, and Affleck of the giant dragon race is most likely going crazy right now. The 6 forces finally managed to realize their plan against the Qin family, and it has now failed as the profound ice family of the god race is here." Hua Anyang's expression was solemn and did not have any schadenfreude. He said, "Based on the old patriarch's words, the god race should only reach spirit realm in 3 years. Why did it occur early?" Chun Lin shook his head. "I do not know. The Ji family and Skymender Palace incomers were on their guard due to the profound ice family invasion." Qin Lai's expression shifted. He suddenly thought of the cursed progenitor's words and then mentally called to attempt to ask the cursed progenitor. But he did not get any response from the cursed progenitor. He suddenly sat down. ignoring Qinlin and Ji Yao's expression. He attempted to use the soul race's secret arts to get the exact location of the cursed progenitor. The skin, flesh, and brain of the cursed progenitor's body had been inscribed with strange diagrams when refined by the soul-suppressing orb. If he felt with the secret arts of the soul race like he felt the 8 god generals Jiang'en and Xueli, he could lock onto the general position of the cursed progenitor. But despite giving it his all, he still couldn't find the cursed progenitor's presence anywhere. He could not call mentally, and could not feel with his consciousness. This clearly was illogical. When he thought of the cursed progenitor's previous words, he immediately felt wary. Did he do something? Qin Lai muttered. What is it? Miao Yitzi asked. The other people looked over in confusion. The cursed progenitor first went to my soul beast avatar and said some strange things. He said he could persuade the 6 forces to lay down their arms, and hopes that the Qin family can ally with the 6 forces and face the god race together. He also said. He narrated the cursed progenitor's strange words. As everyone became suspicious, he said, I brought the cursed progenitor's body back from the graveyard of gods. It has a special connection to me. Normally, if the cursed progenitor was in spirit realm or in the surrounding realms, I would be able to sense him. But now, no matter how hard I try, I cannot. You suspect something went wrong because of the cursed progenitor? Hua Anyang frowned. I heard the ancestor of the Ji family say the cursed progenitor originally had the surname Ao. He should be the actual ancestor of the Ao family, Ji Yao said. Ao family? The Ao family of the 6 forces. Qin Lai shouted. Ji Yao nodded. He and the ancestor of the Qin family, Qin Tian, are from the same time. The Ao family of the 6 forces can be considered his descendants. However, my ancestor said the cursed progenitor is completely different from the present Ao family, and the actions of the current Ao family go against the plans the cursed progenitor had back then. Since he is the forefather of the Ao family, why would he suddenly drive the profound ice family to Dragon Realm? He was confused. If he really wants to help the 6 forces, why would he do something like this now? The profound ice family appearing in the Dragon Realm will damage the giant dragon race, and by extension, the 6 forces. I do not understand. Ji Yao was confused. He said he would do his best for the races of Spirit Realm. Qinlin thought and seemed to catch something. He said, if the profound ice family's early arrival is related to the cursed progenitor, then what is the meaning in his actions? I understand. Qinlin's body shook and he said, he is forcing the 6 forces to stop fighting us. He is forcing the 6 forces and the other races to gather their present strength and put it towards fighting the god race. Everyone present was thoughtful hearing Qinlin's words. I need to immediately return to Olden Warm Realm, Qinlin declared. At this time, another door among the door of 9 brightened. Qin Yi came out and glanced at everyone. He said, it seems you already know. What happened? Ji Yao said urgently. The early arrival of the profound ice family has to do with the cursed progenitor. When the profound ice family first appeared in the Dragon Realm, the cursed progenitor contacted my father and told him of this. Qin Ye's expression was depressed as he said, but he did not say what he did to let the profound ice family appear in Shattered Ice Realm. Also, he suddenly disappeared after sending the message. My father cannot find him. Why is it like this? Ji Yao said. Qin Yi shook his head. When my father was expanding Sky-bearing City, he knew of cursed progenitor's identity and they made an agreement. According to my father, cursed progenitor's actions did not break it. However, the cursed progenitor hopes that all the experts of Spirit Realm can gather their forces to repel the god race invasion. For this, he could even draw the god race to our realm early to stop our infighting and force us to unite against the god race together. That's his way of realizing his righteous dream. Qinlin asked, then what should we do now? Qin Yi sighed and said, temporarily stop fighting the 6 forces and see if the other families of the god race come as well. No one was in a mood for jokes after the arrival of the god race and their invasion of the Dragon Realm. Every person in Sky-bearing City was in a heavy mood due to the god race stepping into Spirit Realm once again. After 20,000 years, the god race returned. And that time, they were much stronger than in the previous invasion, having come with all 5 families. The better understanding one had of the god race's strength, the more terrified and hopeless they felt. That's too soon. If only it was a bit later. Jiao sighed and said, "We have not prepared yet. Once the 5 families step into spirit realm together, everyone had dark expressions. Some of the people knew the terror of the god race through Qin Lai, and the others knew the true strength of the god race through the Qin family. In the vast universe there were tens of thousands of races, and yet the god race's combat prowess had always been at the peak. Such a prosperous and powerful race coming in full force. What did the races of Spirit Realm have? Also, the races of Spirit Realm were not as united as they had been in the past. There were grudges and friction between them. They could not be united. It appears we must stop fighting the 6 forces, Dan Yuanqing said regretfully. Chunlin's expression was dark as he snorted and said, "The cursed progenitor thinks his actions can force us to work together with the 6 forces, and thinks this is the best way to defend Spirit Realm against the God race. But if we had 2 more years, and we defeated the 6 forces, we could really gather all the power of Spirit Realm." Chunlin gritted his teeth and shouted, "With the Qin family's present foundations, we could do many things in 2 years." Jiao and Hua Anyang were shocked. How much could the Qin family do in 2 years that they had the confidence to fight the god race? They were puzzled by Chunlin's fury. Qin Yi grimaced and said honestly, "My father has been recently making a plan that needs at least 2 years. Once that plan succeeds, Spirit Realm can almost double their Genesis Realm and rank 10 Bloodline experts. In 2 years, we would be able to build another level on their soul altars." Everyone paled in shock at the words. Hua Anyang's breathing was rushed as he said, "Is there really such a thing?" Qin Yi nodded and sighed. "This is our biggest secret at present. I will not tell the details. But as my father thinks it is plausible, then it can be realized. If we had 2 or 3 more years, after we defeated the 6 forces, the combat power of the races of Spirit Realm would double. If everyone in Spirit Realm like that could work together, with the new batch of divine-grade spirit artifacts we've made, we might be able to fight the god race. The god race's 5 families will not rashly fight to the death if they see our power and know they cannot easily conquer Spirit Realm. Originally, I had at least 60 to 70% confidence that in 2 years, we could force the god race away again. Now I have no confidence." Hua Anyang thought for a moment and said, "The cursed progenitor doesn't know the plan? We didn't even have time to tell Sky Mender Palace and the Ji family. How could we tell him of the plan early?" Qin Yi had a helpless expression. Also, his soul was scattered around Sky-bearing City, and we left Sky-bearing City for more than 3 centuries. He only came back into contact with us after his soul had merged with his physical body and Sky-bearing City had been activated again. Obviously, he had no way of knowing our plan. Hua Anyang frowned and said, "If he had known of your plan early, and thought it was plausible, maybe he would not have been so rash to let the god race in early. Maybe, but now it's too late." Qin Yi sighed. Everyone else let out a sigh of helplessness under the cruel fate that could not be changed. "Little Lai, come with me," Qin Yi said. Qin Lai nodded. The uncle and nephew flew to the door of 9 floating above Sky-bearing City under curious gazes. Qin Yi pointed at one of the realm entrants and said, "We are going over." Subsequently, both of their figures disappeared. It wasn't Olden Warm Realm. Hua Anyang looked and said, "Is that formation connected to Dark Natal Realm?" Chen Lin said, "It should be." Hua Anyang made a sound of acknowledgement and found it strange. He said lowly, "There should be no problems in Dark Natal Realm? Why did Qin Yi take the boy to Dark Natal Realm?" Chen Lin said, "To feed." Hua Anyang was stunned. In an underground world without any light. When Qin Lai and Qin Yi arrived, they heard waves of roaring. Qin Lai looked and found he was in an enormous underground prison. The connected cells all had screams and howls coming out of them. Clansmen of many races Qin Lai had never seen before saw him appear and madly crashed the rock walls of the cells, attempting to get out. Some of them were from the Azura race. There was also a rank 8 giant dragon. There were also some races that didn't belong to spirit realm. In these 3 centuries, the Qin family has not been idle. Some dared to challenge us and were imprisoned here, Qin explained. Some of the foreign races come from distant realms and are innately bloodthirsty and savage. They do not treat us as highly intelligent beings. He pointed at one foreign race prisoner who was almost 5 meters tall with oily green skin and 3 eyes giving off cold savage light. The prisoner opened his mouth, revealing a tongue that resembled a green snake several meters long. It twisted in a disgusting manner. Ghost demon race, Qin said. This foreign race suddenly appeared from the ground of an unfamiliar realm when we were exploring and killed many of ours by swallowing them alive. This ghost demon clansman has some similarities to the 3 ghoul races. Maybe they have some relation in their bloodline. This one is from the dark spirit race. He pointed at another prisoner. Qin looked and found a human-shaped foreign race clansman with dark brown skin and dark eyes. It had fangs and a laugh that caused hair to stand on end and affect mind. Based on father's speculations, the dark spirit race has very thin spirit race bloodline and should be descendants of a spirit race clansman who had raped a weaker race. Qin continued to explain. Do not disregard them because of their thin bloodline though. The dark spirit race is not easy to defeat. While their bloodline power is weak, their physical bodies are stronger than bodies of the spirit race, and many of us were killed. Qin led him around the cells and introduced the foreign races to him. Then he said, "They can all be food for your blood soul beast avatar." Qin smiled and said, "Thank you, second uncle." After that, he used his 8-eyed demon spirit bloodline to form the star door. The foreign races that had been wanting to eat him suddenly saw the blood soul beast burrowing out of the star door with its moving blood vessels and screamed. Their screams were filled with terror and anxiousness as though they knew the end of days had come. These prisoners can probably only help the blood soul beast reach rank 8 bloodline. We have to think of other ways to recover to peak rank 10 bloodline. Qin sighed. There were dozens of foreign races clansmen imprisoned in the underground that had rank 8 bloodline at their peak. But after being imprisoned for many years and not having been fed enough, their bloodline had energy level of average rank 7. Qin blood soul beast avatar contained more refined flesh and blood energy at rank 8 than any of the foreign races here. After rough probing, he knew that the foreign races here were barely enough for the blood soul beast avatar to recover to rank 8 bloodline. If he wanted to progress further, he had to think of other ways. Eat them first when you recover rank 8 bloodline. I will make other rearrangements, Qin said coolly. Qin's eyes lit up. He chuckled and said, "Second uncle, this is for you." A blurry and dim soul ball flew out of the eyes of the blood soul beast avatar. Zhu Han's soul imprint was almost imperceptible. Yet when it was spat out by the blood soul beast, Zhu Han found the situation was not good, and struggled fiercely. Qin, even if you win now, the Qin family cannot escape destruction by the 6 forces. The Zhu family will avenge me. Zhu Han's soul voice was harsh. Cough, cough. Qin coughed, a hint of flush on his pale face. He said, Zhu Han, I am contaminated with reincarnation power, and cannot get rid of it unless I enter the reincarnation cycle. But you? Haha. I fear you will not even be able to enter reincarnation. I will destroy your soul, and erase all your soul imprints. As he spoke, he waved his sleeve, and Zhu Han's soul shadow went into his sleeve. He took out pills and swallowed them. His expression calmed again, and he said, I persisted in living all these years because I wanted to see Zhu Han die before my eyes. Now that he is in my hands, my mental barrier has been overcome. When we resolve the invasion of the God race, I will go reincarnate. If you reincarnate, won't your memories be erased? Qin said with a frown. Qin shook his head. With your grandfather, there will be no problems. However, I need to change my body and my soul, and start living again from a baby. If only this can dissipate the reincarnation power, then we have no other choice, Qin said. The battle is about to start. Your 2 soul beast avatars will be of crucial use in the future. The foreign races here should have died already. I will leave them to you. Qin Yi smiled. After you are done with them, I'll make other arrangements and we'll see other places. Qin Lai thought for a moment and shook his head. No need. Oh, Qin Yi was shocked. Once the Blood Soul Beast reaches rank 8 Bloodline, I will order him to go into the Abyss. The Blood Soul Beast can establish itself in the Abyss after reaching rank 8. The blood and flesh of Abyss Devils there contains enormous physical power that will help him recover even faster. Qin Lai looked at the foreign races and smiled disdainfully. He said, they are much weaker than the Abyss Devils, and are just snack for the Blood Soul Beast. All right, you can arrange it, Qin Yi said. Hey ho ho. Qin Lai's Blood Soul Beast avatar finally started a storm of blood after Qin Ye's words. The imprisoned clansmen of foreign races did not have time to react when they saw the Blood Soul Beast roar, and felt their souls sink into darkness. By then, they've realized their souls were being pulled out of their bodies. At the same time, Qin Lai's main body and Qin Yi left Dark Natal Realm. Qin Yi returned to Olden Warm Realm while Qin Lai went to Baluo Realm and connected the realm door of Baluo Realm to Skybearing City. He then went to the Frost Desolation Abyss. In the lands under Kadak's name, the experts of the silver rank forces of the Land of Chaos were still fighting the Abyss Devils relentlessly. His arrival only attracted the attention of a few people. Li Mu and Yen Bai of Heavenly Sword Mountain, Feng Yi and the others of Celestial Artifact Sect had just finished a battle and were gathered at the side and resting. Why did you suddenly come here? Li Mu laughed and said, to tell you you can return home. Qin Lai grinned and said, a few years ago, you were forced to come to Baluo Realm and then to the Frost Desolation Abyss to avoid the pursuit of the Six Forces. It has been very long since you returned to the Land of Chaos. Now the situation is clear. Those people who have occupied our homes in the Land of Chaos have been forced away. Starting today, everyone can return to the Land of Chaos. Li Mu stilled and said, the Six Forces were forced to leave? Yes. Qin Lai nodded and said, the good news is we can return. The bad news is that even if we return, we cannot stay in the Land of Chaos for long. Why so? Feng Yi said, the God race has formally started its invasion. The members of the Profound Ice family have reached Dragon Realm. The Six Forces and other races are heading to Dragon Realm. Soon, large-scale war will occur. At that time, the other families of God race will have come over. Sighing, Qin Lai continued to explain, once they enter Spirit Realm, no place will be safe. The Land of Chaos will not be an exception. Baluo Realm is relatively far from Spirit Realm and may be safe for a while. Later, it is hard to say. Maybe the Frost Desolation Abyss will be the safest in the future. Everyone paled. Everyone was terrified by the arrival of the God race. They suddenly realized the relatively peaceful days of Spirit Realm had most likely come to an end. We are actually better off. At least, I can arrange for you to take refuge in the Frost Desolation Abyss. Qin Lai had a bitter expression. The humans in other areas of Spirit Realm may not be so lucky. The denizens of Dragon Realm, Azura Realm, and the Sea Racelands will be the first to meet the God race. I came this time in hope that everyone does their best to get stronger and prepare for the upcoming war. If anyone has any need help of me, Flaming Sun Island, or the Qin family when creating your soul altars, tell me. I will do my best to satisfy your needs. Then, he ignored everyone's shock and left the gathering place. He knew they needed time to digest this astounding news. He found La Pu and took out the blood that Great Master Tianqi had given him. He handed it to La Pu and said, a member of the spirit race gave this to me. He says he has no malicious intent and that this will help my bloodline improve. But I do not dare to believe him. Help me see what race this blood belongs to and if it is harmful to me. If not, I will immediately assimilate it. Isn't the Qin family about to fight the Six Forces? La Pu said curiously. The plan changed. The God race is about to come. Our battle with a true transcendent bloodline race has come early. I need to increase my strength as soon as possible to prepare for future battles. Qin Lai said. La Pu's expression changed dramatically. At this time, an enormous shadow suddenly appeared in the sky above Qin Lai and La Pu. Little friend, I want to have a talk with you. In the next moment, Qianlai felt the world spin and did not know where he was. Frost Desolation Abyss. A grand palace as tall as a mountain stood proudly at an empty, barren land of the Arctic ice field. This place was the territory of the great lord of the abyss, Dawson. The grand palace was made out of ice and stone, and it was where Dawson and his descendants lived. A huge tornado suddenly appeared right above the palace. It hid Dawson's gigantic body partially. Swoosh! A figure flew out of the tornado and fell straight towards the palace below. Enos was standing at a corner of a plaza inside the palace. Sinister-looking demonic statues that were at least several hundreds meters tall adorned the building. Bang! A figure landed heavily on the rock floor, but the impact failed to crack the rock even a little. Enos! Qianlai's expression changed the second he noticed the girl on the plaza. He immediately tried to activate the eight-eyed demon spirit's bloodline in an attempt to teleport out of the Frost Desolation Abyss instantly. Enos was Dawson's bloodline descendant and daughter of the great lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss. From Kadak's memories, he had learned that Dawson was also the highest ranked. The rank 10 great lords of the Abyss were ranked according to their true combat strength. Any great lord of the Abyss who had successfully reached rank 10 bloodline would challenge others to a battle. The rankings were very important to the great lords of the Abyss. Enos's father, Dawson, was the highest-ranked great lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss. As the strongest expert of his Abyss level, he had the power to draw power from the most basic of laws of the universe present there. The moment he saw Enos, Qianlai knew immediately that the demonic figure on the sky he had seen back in Kadak's territory was Dawson. Oh no! Right after he activated the eight-eyed demon spirit's bloodline, a dull roar suddenly resounded from the center of this palace. His star door instantly shattered like a mirror before they could completely form. "My father is looking for you," Enos said. Enos had purple hair and purple eyes. She was standing alone in the plaza filled with demonic statues, and her eyes were currently filled with a strange and incomprehensible emotion. "He wants to see me?" Qianlai was caught off guard. Enos was a high-rank abyss devil, so her appearance didn't differ too greatly from that of a human, a spirit race clansman, or a god race clansman. In fact, her unique hair and eye color gave her an exceptionally charming appearance. Unlike their past encounters, Enos wasn't in a hurry to threaten or attack him. In fact, she seemed to look embarrassed for some reason. Not only that, Enos seemed to have dressed herself up specifically for their meeting. The purple dress she was wearing fitted her body and accentuated her womanly features nicely, greatly enhancing her natural charm. However, her unnatural actions had only made Qianlai feel more and more worried. "My father has been watching Kadak's territory for a very long time already. You may have successfully refined the soul mark he had left inside you, but that doesn't mean he can't detect you when you cross over from another realm. All he needs to do is to pay attention to Kadak at all times," Enos explained. Qianlai frowned. "I haven't broken a single rule since I showed up at the Frost Desolation Abyss, right?" "That is correct. You may visit the Frost Desolation Abyss anytime you wish as long as your bloodline hasn't reached rank 10, Enos explained. "Then why is your father keeping an eye on me?" Qianlai smiled wryly. Enos bit her lower lip and tried to say something. Her embarrassment seemed to get the better of her, however. It was at this moment purple shadows suddenly gathered next to Enos. A few seconds later, they transformed into a huge middle-aged man who looked as brawny as a mountain. The middle-aged man had purple eyes that were as big as a bronze bell. He had a bald head, a boorish face, and a laugh that was endlessly rude and forceful. "I am Dawson." Qianlai sucked in a deep breath and activated his bloodline power, his hair and eyes turning red in an instant. It was the only way he could resist Dawson's incredible presence, and even then it was just barely. He subconsciously closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes and probed Dawson with his soul consciousness, he saw a gigantic, 1,000-meter-tall silver armored war devil with sinister-looking horns on his head, natural silver armor around his torso and sharp barbs around his shoulder area, instead of the middle-aged man Dawson had presented himself as. He immediately figured out that what he could see with his soul was Dawson's true appearance. Dawson was originally just a low-rank silver armor war devil. But after fighting countless battles, consuming boundless flesh, evolving his bloodline power and awakening new bloodline abilities, he ultimately succeeded in reaching rank 10 and become the highest-ranked Great Lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss. A low-rank Abyss Devil who survived countless battles and evolved to become a Great Lord of the Abyss were collectively called the First Devils. Right now, almost all the Abyss Devils who stood at the top of the food chain were the First Devils. They were the true rulers of the Abyss. The rank 10 First Devils were the synonym of fear in the Abyss. They were in every sense of the word the overlords. There was nothing more the God race, the Spirit race, and the Soul race feared more than running into the First Devils every time they invaded the Abyss. It was because these Abyss Devils had successfully deciphered most of the laws of the Abyss and were working on understanding even deeper and greater secrets. They were unafraid of any transcendent challenger at the same level as them. The 5 great families of the God race weren't victorious every time they invaded the Abyss. In fact, in the history of the Abyss, the number of times the God race, the Spirit race, and the Soul race were utterly routed by these powerful First Devils was about the same as the number of times the former. Qianlai opened his eyes with a bitter look on his face. "May I ask why you've waited for me on purpose, sir?" The middle-aged man standing in front of him was definitely the Great Lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss, Dawson. After confirming that not even the 8-eyed demon spirit's bloodline could save him, he turned obedient and stopped struggling. "Ha ha!" The bald-headed Dawson laughed loudly before explaining. "The reason I'm looking for you is because I have good news to share. I think you're an excellent boy, and I want you to take my daughter, Enos, as one of your wives. I have only one request to make, and that is you must give Enos a child no matter how many wives or women you pick up in the future." Qianlai was stunned. He could never have imagined that the reason that Dawson, the Great Lord of the Frost Desolation Ice, had lay in wait for him and kidnapped him the second he entered the Frost Desolation Abyss was for something like this. "You want a child?" Qianlai looked completely confused. "That's right. I wish for Enos to bear a child of yours. It's that simple." Dawson didn't bother to hide his intentions. He said directly, "If the 3rd generation of my blood is able to own even a portion of your bloodline, he will definitely become the strongest ruler in the history of the Frost Desolation Abyss." Dawson pointed at the giant demonic statues on the plaza. "These fellows over here are just like me. They were all the former great lords in the history of the Frost Desolation Abyss. Unfortunately for them, they ultimately died and became part of the Abyss despite living for over millions of years. If I cannot break through my limit and exceed rank 10 bloodline, then my fate will be the same as theirs. However, I'm not confident that I can surpass them and succeed where they had failed. From the looks of it, the 2nd generation of my blood didn't have the power to realize my dreams either. Therefore, I have no choice but to put my hopes on the 3rd. And you are the hope that may greatly increase my 3rd generation's chances of success." Dawson didn't hide his true intentions from Qianlai. In fact, he made it crystal clear that he was trying to benefit the 3rd generation of his bloodline. At first, Qianlai thought that the situation was outrageous. But after he calmed down and thought through things carefully, he suddenly realized that Dawson must have had set his eyes on his bloodline. Dawson must have guessed that his bloodline was unique. He believed that his miraculous bloodline would give birth to a natural ruler if he and Enos were to make an offspring. In fact, this child might very well possess the potential to surpass rank 10 bloodline. "I've heard that the previous chief of the Blaze family had once come up with a plan called the Perfect Blood Project. In the past, every peak expert thought that this madman's plan was nothing but a joke and a pipe dream." Dawson laughed. "I thought the same as well until I ran into you and saw the strange things you did. Enos's recount of your exploits in the origin world also made me thought that maybe the madman was right after all." There was no doubt that Dawson had admitted to seeing through Qianlai's secrets and learned that he possessed the perfect blood. "That bloodline isn't perfect yet." Qianlai spoke up suddenly. Dawson's eyes lit up before he laughed loudly. "There's no hurry. After all, both you and Enos have at least another 10,000 years to live. Enos can definitely afford to wait until your bloodline is perfected before bearing your child." The bloodline is the most mysterious thing in the entire world. I'm aware that there is no guarantee that the child between you and Enos will inherit the profound characteristics of your bloodline. However, I have reason to believe that the child's starting point and potential will still be a lot higher than other high-rank devils. And that is enough for me. Beside her father, Enos actually felt less embarrassed after Dawson had voiced his true intentions. She was now staring at Xianxia openly. We Abyss Devils are different from the spirit race or god race. These high-rank races believe that the purity of their bloodline is the key to awakening powerful bloodline abilities. Enos explained calmly. But we are different. There are at least millions of types of Abyss Devils out there, and powerful bloodline abilities normally manifest themselves in two ways. The first way is to consume other Abyss Devils and strengthen one's own bloodline continuously. My father is one such example. First Devils eventually gained rank 10 bloodline because they had fought countless battles and had consumed the flesh of the defeated to strengthen their own bloodlines. However, this isn't an easy path to tread. Out of the millions of low-rank devils there are out there, only one has the possibility of reaching rank 10. The other way to obtain powerful bloodline is to combine multiple bloodlines. The descendants of a powerful Abyss Devil are born with natural strength, and they have a much higher chance of becoming a lord or a great lord of the Abyss. One might say that this method is a shortcut compared to improving one's bloodline bit by bit until rank 10. Enos stared at Xianxia deeply before continuing. I can sense that your powerful bloodline was created through mixing many bloodlines. In fact, I can even smell the scent of an Abyss Devil inside your body. That's how I know that you have the blood of an Abyss Devil in you. This is exactly why we think I can bear a child of yours. We believe that the high-rank Abyss Devil born from you and I would be fated to become the ruler of the Frost Desolation Abyss the moment they are born. The father and daughter, Dawson and Enos, laid bare their desire to Xianxia. To put it bluntly, they wished to use Xianxia as a reproduction tool. Their goal was the profound bloodline in Xianxia's veins. How does this benefit me? When Xianxia had finally recovered from his daze, he asked, If, as you say, I can give you the future ruler of the Frost Desolation Abyss, then what can you two give me in return? What kind of profit do I get out of this deal? Your child will become the future ruler of the Frost Desolation Abyss. Isn't that enough for you? Enos asked. Xianxia shook his head. He. If that child of yours is lucky, they may even turn out to be a devil monarch of the 8 purgatories. Dawson chuckled strangely. Xianxia frowned. Are there any other gains that you can offer me right now? I heard that the 5 families of the god race are planning to invade the realm you live in, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I also heard from the spirit race clansmen who are training in the Frost Desolation Abyss that you plan to defend your world from them. Dawson asked. Xianxia asked, How do you know about that? I am the great lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss. I sometimes pay attention to your people's activities. Dawson said in a prideful tone. If I will it so, I can learn their conversation and even their inner thoughts vaguely, as long as they are in the Frost Desolation Abyss. I see. Xianxia sighed. The profound ice family has already entered Spirit Realm, and the remaining 4 families will follow suit before long. Do you wish to protect Spirit Realm, or do you wish to ally yourself with the God race, since they share the same blood as you? Enos asked curiously. I wish that Spirit Realm will be safe from harm. I wish for as few lives to be lost as possible, and that the world isn't filled with pain and misery. I also wish for the human race to survive this disaster. Oh, that can be easily solved actually. I can give you an entire land at the Frost Desolation Abyss where your people can take refuge. Dawson thought for a moment before continuing. You may also send your people to your own origin world, once it has transformed into a whole new abyss level. After all, even if the 100 races of Spirit Realm successfully repel the God race's second invasion, that doesn't mean they will be able to deal with the next crisis. The next crisis? What do you mean? Xianxia was caught off guard. I heard from the Abyss Devils of other levels that the Spirit Race, the Soul Race, and other powerful races are currently searching for a way to enter Spirit Realm as well. There are even abyss devils who seem to be interested in spirit realm after catching wind of some news. Dawson narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, I believe that there exists a secret in spirit realm that even the 100 races themselves aren't aware of. However, the transcendent bloodline races have clearly figured out some things. That is why they covet spirit realm. There exists a secret in spirit realm that attracts even the 4 transcendent races? Qianlai was shocked. Although a supersized realm like spirit realm is rare, it isn't like spirit realm is the only such realm in the entire galaxy. However, spirit realm is the only supersized realm I've ever heard where all 4 transcendent bloodline races are doing everything in their power to create spatial passages or realm entrances in preparation for an invasion. Dawson's words gave Qianlai a lot to think about. Dawson's expression changed all of a sudden. One of your friends from Spirit Realm is breaking through to rank 10 at this abyss level after eating a small lord. A hurricane suddenly appeared and covered both Qianlai and Enos. It then flew towards a different corner of the Frost Desolation Abyss. At a place where the ice and snow were fierce, a golden giant who looked like he was made out of liquid metal was leaning against a glacier. His chest area was bleeding profusely. Beside the golden giant lay a rank 9 Lord of the Abyss. Its gigantic heart had been dug out of its torso. Purple blood was flowing down the corner of the golden giant's mouth, and its naked upper body was glowing brightly. His presence seemed as firm as a mountain. Whoosh! Suddenly, a tornado appeared next to him out of nowhere. Qianlai, Enos, and Dawson walked out of it. The moment Dawson appeared, Banderas was immediately woken up from his trance. He immediately stopped feeding and got up to his feet. It was at this moment a familiar figure abruptly entered his vision. Qianlai! Banderas! Qianlai asked after a moment of surprise, Has your bloodline reached rank 10? Golden light roamed around the giant's body, and his refined flesh and blood energy was growing exponentially with every passing second. The giant gave Qianlai a simple smile before replying in a deafening voice. I just ate heart of the Lord of the Abyss, and the terrific flesh and blood energy it contained helped me break through my limits and reach rank 10. While saying this, Banderas looked at Dawson seriously and asked, Who is he, Qianlai? His abyss devil aura is even more terrifying than that lord I just fought. He can't be. Banderas's face changed when he arrived at the answer himself. Since Dawson hadn't bothered to conceal his presence, Banderas already had an educated guess. I am Dawson. The ruler of Frost Desolation Abyss grinned at him. The moment Dawson started laughing, Banderas immediately activated his bloodline power in an attempt to fight him with all he got. Stop! Qianlai stopped him. It was at this moment Qianlai sensed another 3 terrifying presences in the distance. However, Dawson's declaration had caused them to disappear all of a sudden. It was then Qianlai realized that the other 3 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss had noticed Banderas's breakthrough immediately just like Dawson did. The 3 great lords of the Frost Desolation Abyss had extended their soul presences all the way to this place. Then, they retreated immediately after Dawson had made his declaration. It would seem that Dawson was also claiming responsibility over Banderas when he made that declaration. Qianlai. He's the strongest abyss devil in the entire Frost Desolation Abyss. Why are you with him? Banderas asked urgently. Dawson hadn't manifested his true body, so both appearance and size-wise he looked much smaller than Banderas and completely unassuming. However, Banderas remained anxious after learning who the tiny man really was. Had Qianlai not been present, Banderas would have prepared himself to run away already. Normally, if a foreign rank 10 bloodline expert were to show up in the Frost Desolation Abyss, Dawson focused on explaining to Qianlai instead of looking at the overly tensed Banderas. The 4 of us would treat it as an invasion and repel the invader accordingly. On the other hand, if the foreign invader had yet to reach rank 10, and they obeyed the rules of the Frost Desolation Abyss, we will not interfere no matter how many abyss devils are killed in the process. However, if a foreign invader were to ascend to rank 10 in the Frost Desolation Abyss, then the 4 of us will show up and greet them. This golden giant before you is one such example. Dawson looked up towards Banderas before chuckling to himself. If we were feeling content at the time, we would request the Ascendants to leave the Frost Desolation Abyss as soon as possible. But if we were not then, Dawson paused for a moment before continuing, we would engage them in battle immediately. According to the rules of the Abyss, all those who had reached rank 10 are powerful existences at the same level as we are. This means that it is not against the rules to fight a rank 10 foreign invader. Whether they'll make it out of the Frost Desolation Abyss before we hunt them down is entirely dependent on their luck. My father normally chooses to chase down those types of invaders. He'll either meet them at their place of ascension immediately or travel straight to the Abyss passageway. Enos interrupted. If these people were able to make it to the Abyss passageway or their realm entrances, then my father would stop pursuing. However, according to my knowledge, no one has managed to escape my father in recent years. Banderas's expression distorted drastically. Qianlai was shocked as well. Banderas had just ascended to rank 10 using a heart of a Lord of the Abyss. If Dawson had chosen to attack him immediately, then Banderas might seriously not make it back to Boluo realm. It also meant that Dawson was entirely in the right to kill Banderas if he happened to be feeling discontent. Before Qianlai could recover from his bewilderment and suspicion, Dawson waved his hands and said, "You should head to Kadak's territory and leave through their realm entrance right now. No one will stop you during your journey. However, do not forget that we are your opponents the next time you enter the Frost Desolation Abyss once more." Qianlai, Banderas asked in confusion. "Head back to Boluo realm first. I'll talk to you afterwards. Also, you should inform Tyler and the others that they shouldn't complete their breakthrough to rank 10 in the Frost Desolation Abyss if possible," Qianlai instructed. "Okay." Banderas left with unanswered questions. Dawson chuckled. "If you promise to copulate with Enos, all of your companions may ascend to rank 10 in the Frost Desolation Abyss and leave without hurry. As long as I'm still the Great Lord of the Frost Desolation Abyss, I promise that they will not be killed on the way." "That is not a bad condition. Is there anything else you can offer me?" Qianlai asked. He finally understood the reason Dawson had brought him over. He was using Banderas as his favor to Qianlai and to explain to him the laws of the Abyss in detail. It was all to obtain the bloodline he possessed. "You may not be aware of this, but the God race and soul race are all attempting to obtain you through me recently." Dawson pondered for a moment before continuing. "The Blaze family are aware that you often operate in the Frost Desolation Abyss. They'd offered me great things in exchange for your person. Members of the soul race have also done the same thing. They've offered me things that I found quite difficult to turn down. If Dawson's earlier conditions counted as his promises, then these ones were naked threats." Dawson's meaning was very clear. If Qianlai dared to refuse his offer, he would turn Qianlai in to the God race or the soul race. He would use him to profit himself massively. Qianlai's mind went blank for a second, but he quickly realized that he never had a choice to begin with. After shooting a glance at Enos, Qianlai agreed obediently. "If the time is right, then I'm willing to give Enos a child." Dawson grinned. "Then I shall promise you this. If Enos really does come to bear the third generation of my blood, then I'm willing to exit the Frost Desolation Abyss and protect you for the sake of this child, even if the entire God race is my opponent." "All right." Qianlai nodded. They came to an agreement. After that, Qianlai appeared at La Pu's place in a blink of an eye thanks to Dawson. Dawson's soul voice suddenly reached his ears. "It's about time you start developing and evolving that origin world of yours, and I will tell you my suggestions. If you can develop this origin world into a complete Abyss level, then you will become the new Devil Monarch of that world. Remember, the origin world contains infinite wonders, and you can brand it with the laws and truths you've learned. Be it the God races, the soul races, or other bloodline powers and secrets, you can create them all inside the origin world as long as they are familiar to you. They will aid you in understanding the laws of the lower Abyss levels. You must invest some time in your origin world because it will be a powerful nucleus to you in the future. Again, be sure to remember this. Dragon Realm. Affleck passed through a spatial crystal barrier and appeared at the Dragon Realm. When he unleashed his powerful soul consciousness and probed around, he couldn't stop himself from tearing up. It was because he couldn't sense a single dragon that was rank 8 and above in the entire Dragon Realm. As Affleck flew across the skies of Dragon Realm, all he saw was collapsed mountains, trampled forests, and low-ranked dragons who were cowering inside caves in fear. Roar! Affleck let out an earth-shaking and sorrowful roar. All the dragons who were hiding inside caves or deep sea crawled out of their hiding spots after heard his furious roar. The giant dragons quickly gathered around Affleck and tearfully recounted the tragedy that had descended upon the Dragon Realm not long ago. The group of outsiders led by P69 was listening closely to their stories as well. They quickly learned that the God Race invaders had captured all giant dragons that were rank 8 and above and took them to Shattered Ice Realm. There were even 3 rank 10 giant dragons among the captives. Shattered Ice Realm. Affleck's eyes were bloodshot. Let's head over and take a look. Even P69 had let out a sigh. Shattered Ice Realm. 2 giant starships were hovering silently in between a couple of icy peaks. The interior of the disorderly Shattered Ice City was filled with giant glaciers sculpted into grand ice palaces by the hands of the profound ice family itself. The beautiful patterns that adorned the exterior of the ice palaces had painted an exquisite picture. There was also an inverted triangular ice crystal hanging in between the 2 ships. The triangular ice crystal wasn't particularly big, but it was actually used to hold a lot of pocket-sized giant dragons. These giant dragons were so much smaller than Affleck that they looked like worms at first glance. A couple of profound ice family members were standing next to the ice crystal and making comments about the tiny dragons trapped inside. All the dragons who have reached rank 10 were shrank and sealed inside the ice crystal. A tall, slim, and beautiful woman clad in exquisite silver armor smiled mischievously at Xianxia and said, "The dragon race is seriously pathetic, but I heard that they are considered to be a powerful force in Spirit Realm." "That seems to be the case, yes?" Xianxia replied indifferently. "In that case, the human race must be even more pathetic." The beautiful woman smiled disdainfully before asking, "I heard that Qianlai fellow you lot ran into at the secret realm in the abyss is just a mixed blood between a member of the Blaze family and the human race? I can't believe you guys would lose to someone like him." She raised her head slightly, and her snow-white neck shone brightly due to the light that was being reflected by the ice. "Just how useless can you all be, Xianxia?" The woman's name was Mia. She was the daughter of the profound ice family's current patriarch, Han Che, and she had recently ascended to rank 8 just like Xianxia. In fact, she used to be a peak rank 7 bloodline expert before the expedition to the secret realm at the abyss just like Xianxia. Originally, she was supposed to lead the profound ice family during that expedition, but she had failed to suppress her ascension and accidentally broken through to rank 8 while she was making preparations for the trip. That was how Xianxia had come to replace her. The matter remained a thorn in her heart even to this day. She had wanted to compete against Zhongyi, Hao Jie, and Ming Su in the secret realm, but her rightful position had been robbed by Xianxia through pure luck. Before Xianxia had entered the secret realm, she even gave him a warning and told him that the profound ice family must be the greatest winner of this expedition, and that he has to obtain all of the secrets of the secret realm or else. However, she later learned that Xianxia, Hao Jie, Zhongyi, and Ming Su had all lost to a mixed blood of the Blaze family. She found the truth rather difficult to swallow, so she kept asking about Qianlai after Xianxia had returned home. It was then that she learned that Qianlai was a denizen of Spirit Realm, a realm they were about to invade very soon. At first, Mia wasn't too interested in the invasion. It was because she thought that a virgin realm with no transcendent bloodline races in them wasn't worth the full might of the god race. But after hearing about Qianlai through Xianxia, Zhongyi, and Ming Su, she had suddenly grown interested in the invasion. In the end, she joined her father as a representative of the profound ice family and the first group to invade Spirit Realm. The person who changed her mind was neither Xianxia nor her father. It was Qianlai, a person whom she had never met before. You'll understand what a difficult opponent he is once you meet him. He is a mixed blood, but the Blaze family bloodline inside him and his awakened bloodline abilities are scarier than even Gongxing's, Shen Luo said indifferently. Even at rank 7, he's probably still stronger than all the rank 8 giant dragons we've trapped here. Now that he's merged with the origin world, his bloodline has probably reached rank 8. Shen Luo shot Mia a glance before continuing. If you ever run into him and he's at the same rank as you, I would suggest that you escape immediately. No, that's not right. Shen Luo suddenly shook his head and denied his own words. He said with a serious look, if killing you turned out to be one of his goals, then you probably won't be able to escape even if you tried. After all, his speed is better than yours. I don't believe you, Mia sneered in reply. I think you guys are exaggerating his abilities because you had all lost to him at the origin world. I refuse to believe that a mixed blood can be as powerful as you claim. Meanwhile, at the Frost Desolation Abyss, this blue blood probably originates from a rank 10 8-eyed demon spirit. La Pu of the Ghost Eye race passed back the bottle of blood Great Master Xianxia had gifted Qin Lai and said, I've given it a look-see, and I believe that it's probably safe to use. You may absorb it directly. In that case, I shall absorb it into my perfect blood here at the Frost Desolation Abyss right away, Qin Lai declared solemnly. Why the rush? La Pu sounded a little surprised. The god race has arrived ahead of time, so I must quicken my footsteps as well. If I don't grow stronger as quickly as possible, Spirit Realm may very well fall to the invaders. He summoned a clump of red fire and poured out the blue blood and let it fall onto his burning palm. The fire wrapped around the rank 10 refined blood and pulled it into his veins. However, after the 8-eyed demon spirit's crystalline blood had merged into his blood, a bright glow suddenly appeared from it. It was because the 8-eyed demon spirit bloodline Qin Lai possessed had broken through its limits yet again. Both the blood's depth and range of perception had increased. To Qin Lai's surprise, he suddenly sensed a trace of the cursed progenitor's presence. It was as if the cursed progenitor's body, the one that was tempered by the soul-suppressing orb, was branded with a soul mark that was deeply connected to him. He subconsciously opened a star door in the blink of an eye, and was immediately greeted by a shocked cursed progenitor leaning against an ice wall and staring at him from the other side. Qin Lai passed through the star door while his bloodline was still undergoing a reaction. The cursed progenitor suddenly panicked and yelled urgently, Qin Lai, this is Shattered Ice Realm, and the profound ice family is everywhere in this place. You may alert them with your presence. Shattered Ice Realm. You're hiding in Shattered Ice Realm? Qin Lai exclaimed.